The championship of college baseball wasn't born in Omaha. It just grew up here. The first series was actually held in Kalamazoo, Michigan 50 short years ago. On to Himes Field that June weekend strode the champions of the East, Yale University, with a flashy defense and a first baseman that everyone knew then simply as Poppy. The champions from the West, California. The men of Berkeley were a squad of long ball bangers like you've never seen, with an ace on the mound named Jackie Jensen, who lifted the Bears to the first ever NCAA title. The College World Series has become the first national stage for those who dare to dream of greatness. In the 60s, Bert Hooton, Sal Bando. In the 70s, Freddie Lynn, Dave Winfield. In the 80s, Will Clark, Barry Bonds. And in the 90s, some of the little-known faces you'll see this week will soon be the next household names of our great game. It's been 5 wonderful decades since I took my position at first base on that historic first weekend. Today, I'd like to welcome you to the 50th anniversary NCAA College World Series. This is truly a special week for those of us who love baseball. So sit back and enjoy, and let's play ball.
Game 2 of the 50th College World Series coming up in just a moment. Welcome to Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha for Game 2 of the 50th College World Series. It's Miami against Clemson. In the opening game this afternoon, Alabama advanced into the winner's bracket, beating Oklahoma State 7-5 in dramatic fashion, and will play the winner of our game. In the loser's bracket, Oklahoma State will face the Clemson-Miami loser. It's a double elimination tournament, so 2 losses and you are out. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Joe Morgan. It's great to have you with us. Baseball's age-old question comes up again tonight. Do you like great hitting or do you like great pitching? Miami has its best hitting team ever, and in Pat Burrell, the best hitter in the country.
Well, I prefer hitting, personally. But Pat Burrell leads the nation in hitting at 483. He's a very fine hitter, but he will be tested in this College World Series. There are some good pitchers here.
For Clemson, the whole story on the other side of the page is pitching. You have 3 starting pitchers, a combined 34-8, maybe the best 3 ever on one team. And, Joe, they could all be first-round draft choices.
And maybe even the #1 draft choice in the country, and that could be Chris Benson, who goes tonight. Good fastball, good knuckle curveball, a lot of quality pitches, and he's very aggressive. That's what I like about him.
Okay, Joe, let's take a look at Miami, 47-13 under head coach Jim Morris. Ryan Grimmett will lead it off and play center field. He's the fastest man on the team. Rudy Gomez, a 4'11" hitter, is number 2 in the order and will play second base. Next, the leading hitter in the nation at 483, Pat Burrell, the freshman third baseman. The cleanup man is senior Eddie Rivero, who was one of Miami's leading hitters in last year's series. Batting fifth and playing first base, T.R. Marcinzik, who leads the club in RBIs. Michael DeSalle will bat in the 6th hole. He's hitting over 400 in his last 24 games. The DH will be Kevin Nicoluk. The junior will bat 7th in the order. The number 8 man, catcher Jim Gargiulo, in his 3rd College World Series. And batting 9th, the flashy shortstop Alex Cora.
And let's take a look at Chris Benson. As I said, has a very good fastball, knuckle curve, changeup, and he's very aggressive. And what I meant by that is he has hit 10 batters in 141 innings, which tells you that he will pitch inside, and he comes after you. And look at the strikeouts, 178 strikeouts in only 141 innings. And there have been a couple of ball games this year where he did not walk more than one man in the ball game and struck out 11 or more. So he is a quality pitcher. And here's the
defensively for Clemson, Matthew LaCroix will be the catcher tonight around the infield. Jason Embler at first, Livingston at second, Kirk Boltman, the freshman shortstop, Paul Galloway at third around the outfield. Left to right, Burnham, Rhodes, and Jerome Robinson. It is a cool, damp evening in Omaha, and we are getting a break in the weather forecast. It appears supposedly no more showers coming until around midnight. Both of these games on opening day have been threatened severely by the weatherman. And the current temperature 60. It is falling. The wind blowing out to left, usually a factor here at Rosenblatt, and 10 to 20 miles an hour. If you're a right-handed pull hitter and can get it up at all, you've got a tater. So important for the Clemson Tigers, especially with their outstanding pitching staff. If they could win the first game of the College World Series, they would be sitting in great shape, Joe, the way pitching is so important here.
Well, and the great thing about this ball club is the games in which they've scored 4 runs or more, they have not lost. So that tells you that their pitchers know how to win, and they know how to hold the other team down if they get a lead. So you're exactly correct there, and that if they can get off to a good start, they'll be in great shape.
Jack Leggett, you saw, the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, 17 years overall as a head coach, his 3rd at Clemson. Last year was the 2nd season. In his 2nd season, they reached the College World Series. Here's the leadoff man, Ryan Grimmett. One of the fastest men in college baseball. Brings him down away from 3rd on the bunt.
I mentioned he throws a knuckle curve. A lot of people have thrown him. Bert Hooton threw one, but he threw it with 2 knuckles. He uses only 1 finger to throw his knuckle curve.
Fastball poured in there.
And you can see good movement there on the fastball. Doesn't matter if you throw 95 miles an hour for straight, but his has good movement.
Here's the breaking pitch, got it outside, 2-1. Jamie Bluma, who was a star here in the College World Series, threw that knuckle curve. It was Wickard. So did, I believe, Darren Dreifert.
Yes, Dreifert has one, too.
Fastball just missed low. The umpiring crew at home plate, Kevin Gilmore, calling the balls and strikes right now. And he has a 3-1 count on Grimmett leading off the top of the 1st. Pours another fastball in there, 3-2.
And maybe he is getting the butterflies out because I said how aggressive he was, and every pitch has been away. He has not come inside the entire at bat.
Here's the payoff pitch, smoked to center field, base hit for Ryan Grimmett.
As soon as I say that, they set up inside. They tried to get inside, but they could not get inside on Grimmett. He slams it back through the middle for a base hit. Watch the targets inside, pitches inside, and you see the ball's tailing in a little bit. He gets the bat out. See the target inside. Well, he didn't quite get it in there, but still good hitting there by Grimmett.
Grimmett on at first, nobody out, and Rudy Gomez, the .411 hitting junior out of Miami, Florida. He was this club's MVP a year ago.
Grimmett runs well, but Benson will use the slide step to try to keep the fast runners from stealing the bases on him.
26 out of 31 attempts on the year for Grimmett. Throw over, made it pretty close. As Embler got the snap tag down.
Yeah, you have to have quick feet in order to have a good pickoff move, and Benson has good footwork there. Right there.
He is the complete package. They haven't been able to find any holes in his game yet.
I think you have to be pretty much complete package if they're thinking of you as the #1 draft choice in the nation. I remember Ken Griffey Jr. was the #1 draft choice in the nation, and we know what has happened to him since.
Yeah, that turned out all right, didn't it? Benson misses with the first pitch to Gomez. Third team All-American for Baseball America this year. 207 hits leads Miami's club. They have been more offensive minded since Jim Morris took over as the head coach. One of the reasons they switched to natural grass at their home ballpark, and they can't have all those little guys just slapping the ball and run anymore. One on the leg. Strike call, 1-1.
Speaking of Ron Frazier, who was a coach before, I ran into him in Florida a couple of weeks ago. Looks well, looks good. He's hanging out.
Nice man.
Yes, he is.
And did not only a tremendous amount for Miami, but for college baseball as a whole. Deserves a lot of credit for the growth of this game. Gomez has been on a tear. 526 in the regional. Getting hot at the right time of the season. Squares around as if the bunt takes it high. 2-1. Benson staring in, wanted the call.
That's the second pitch in this sequence that he has wanted. He wanted the first pitch as well. He thought that pitch had broken over the plate.
2-1 to Gomez with Burrell on deck. Miami would love to see him come up with 2 runners aboard, negating the possibility of pitching around him at all. Runner goes, the ball chopped toward the right side, but foul.
Let's take a look at the break and see. He looked like it was more of a hit and run than a straight steal. Let's see how. See, he really is a hit and run. That's not a straight steal. You see, he's looking back as well right away. And he has that little false step that a lot of base runners will have. That meaning you just pick your right foot up and put it right back in the same spot instead of turning your whole body and going, pushing off that back foot.
2-2 to Gomez, another checking throw. 7 times now Benson has gone to first. You see a lot more of that also in college baseball than you will in the bigs. Runner goes, pitches high, and the throw will have no chance whatsoever. Grimmett got a good jump on that one.
Got a much better jump than the time before, because again, I believe the time before was a hit and run. Now watch, right there, he gets a good jump. Throw is not going to be in time, as LaCroix tried to get rid of him too quickly and didn't get much on it.
So Grimmett gets himself into scoring position with nobody out, and let's see if Gomez may be able to get him over by hitting the ball to the right side to count 3-2. And he lost him. Check in with Larry Connolly. Larry, how you doing?
I'm great, Mike. You know, I had a chance to visit with Chris Benson before the game, and while he was warming up in the bullpen, I asked him a question. I said, "Are you ready to go? Are you nervous?" He says, "No." He says, "I'm really anxious." He said, "In fact, I've waited an entire year for this." You know, he didn't pitch in this College World Series here last year. He's ready to go tonight.
All right, Larry. Well, he's dug himself an early hole, and he is facing Pat Burrell, who is hitting a crisp .483. There are guys who can't hit .483 in batting practice. 21 homers, 56 RBIs.
Well, you can watch the target that is being set, and you can see that he is off of his game so far. He has not found his rhythm yet because he is not coming close to the target. That was supposed to be a fastball inside, ended up low and away.
It's only his 23rd walk in 141 2/3 innings. And when you have that kind of control and a mid-90s fastball and a sharp breaking knuckle curve and a good change, you're going to be a #1 draft choice. 1-0 to Burrell, the freshman from Boulder Creek, California. And now they want to come out to talk to Benson. Maybe something mechanically. And John Pawlowski is coming out, the pitching coach. Or maybe just telling him to steady down a little bit. It's got to be such a big week for the young man with all the awards he's garnering, the anticipation of being the #1 draft choice. He has handled everything very well so far, but this is another highlight in his career.
I mean, if you don't have butterflies in your first game of the World Series, I mean, something's wrong with you anyway. So I'm sure he has some butterflies, and they just want to calm him down and let him say, hey, start the inning all over again. I know you have the leading hitter in college baseball at bat, but if you just get your good stuff over, the advantage goes to you. And I agree with that.
Benson behind 2-0 with runners at first and second, nobody out. Burrell, the regional MVP, hit .772 in the region. Ball 3 downstairs.
You can watch Burrell, and like a lot of good hitters, he really sees the ball quickly, and you can see that he's not about to chase a ball out of the strike zone, especially when he's ahead in the count.
And he's one of those guys, it doesn't matter what you throw him. Fastball, breaking ball, slow stuff, he pounds every bit of it. 15 pitches so far for Benson. Taking on the 3-0, fastball is in there.
You wonder if he would had the green light to hit in that situation. I would think not, because Benson has been having trouble hitting the spot, so it means you're going to get another good pitch on 3-1 anyway.
Missed badly. Low and outside with a fastball, and they are loaded with Hurricanes with nobody out in the first. This is not the way the Clemson Tigers envisioned the first inning in this 50th anniversary College World Series, not with their ace on the hill.
It may seem strange, but he has faced 3 right-handed hitters. Now maybe giving him a different look up there with a left-hander, he'll be able to throw some strikes.
Eddie Rivero, who caught fire this time last year, was a hero in the College World Series, has his average up to .363, has some power. Fouled out of play down the left field line. 1-1. Benson has already given up his average and plus walked 2 guys in the first inning. 1-1 to Rivero. Breaking pitch right there, 1-2. Grimmett down at third. Gomez at second base, and Burrell over at first. All of whom can run pretty well. The outfield shaded a little bit toward left. Not expecting Rivero to pull Chris Benson. Breaking ball struck him out. Now they're going to have to blocked by the catcher, so they don't have to throw down to first with the bases loaded.
Well, this is what you want to do if you're Benson. You get ahead, you can get some people to chase your breaking ball in the dirt. And he gets this one exactly where he wants it. Starts in the strike zone and breaks out. But if he gets behind in the count, you can see they do not chase those pitches out of the strike zone.
One out, sack still loaded, and T.R. Marcinsic will come up. Been up several times with the bases loaded. 833 is his average with the sacks loaded. .346 overall on the year. Honorable mention on the Smith Super Team for All-American status. Just missed with a fastball.
Well, you can see Benson wanted that pitch, and so did the catcher.
LaCroix sat up right there.
And he held it there for a long time.
Yeah, he did. Framed it. Home plate umpire Kevin Gilmore didn't like it as well as the Clemson battery did. 2-0. Got him inside on the fist, popped straight back. 2-1.
And if you've got a good enough fastball to get in on the fist of the hitter 2-0, that means your fastball is really alive, because the ball really tailed in on him very quickly. It's 2-0, the hitter is sitting for the fastball, so he's trying to get the barrel out front. And if you can still get in on him, you've got to have an exceptional fastball.
He could use another strikeout right here, and he's the kind of guy who can get it. Fan at least 8 and 17 of his last 18 games. Breaking pitch called strike 2, 2-2.
Well, that shows how aggressive he is. He was not going to give in and throw another fastball down the middle, so he just went with the breaking ball. If you feel like you can throw any pitch at any time, that also puts that in the back of the hitter's mind. That pitch right there will set up a lot of good fastballs for him later on in the ball game.
2-2 to Marcinsic. Smoked but foul. Timed that fastball pretty well.
I'll tell you that. He set him up pretty well for that pitch, and Marcinsic still was able to get the barrel out in front. You would think that he would be waiting a little longer, afraid of the knuckle curve, but he just turned on the fastball in and just pulled it foul.
He was guessing. He guessed right.
Yeah, I think he just was reacting. I mean, he reacted very quickly.
Count rides at 2-2. Bases loaded. One away. Top of the first. And time call. Marcinsic, the #1 RBI man on this team, was 63 this season. Asking to deliver right here. Breaking ball right to left. Base hit. Grimmett is home. Gomez on the way. The throw too late. 2-0 Hurricanes. And Marcinsic delivers his 64th and 65th RBIs.
If you're a hitter and you just pull a fastball foul, you know he has to come with something else. And he throws him a breaking ball. Good hitting there. It wasn't a bad pitch. The pitch was down a little bit. And you see 2 runners coming home for the Hurricanes.
Marcinsic begins to drool when he sees the bases loaded. This year he is 6 for 7 with 14 RBIs in that situation. Michael DeSalle, the left fielder, a junior from Citrus Heights, California, stands in with a .346 average. Benson has already given up 2 runs. His ERA for the year, an NCAA leading 1.40. And only Georgia Tech was able to touch him up at all this year.
Well, if you're the Clemson Tigers, you have to start to worry a little bit, because this has been a long inning. He's thrown 29 pitches, and we're still only 1 out in the first inning. So even if he's able to struggle out of this, how far can he actually go?
Hit to straightaway center. Rhodes can't get there. Base hit. Here comes Burrow around third. He'll score. It's 3-0. And the best pitcher in college baseball has given up 3 hits and 2 walks and only retired a single batter.
Good base running here by Burrow, because this was hit off the fist, a little flare in the center field, but see, he's running all the way. He had taken a check to see how deep the outfielders were before the ball was pitched, and he did not have to wait and make sure that that dropped in. So good base running there by Burrow. Well, he's not just a hitter.
Runners at first and second again. 1 out, 3-0 already, Miami. Kevin Nicoluk, the designated hitter, fouls one in the crowd in a hurry down the right field line. Very difficult to strike out as Nicoluk, nearly 1 out of every 11 at bats.
What the Tigers need now is a ground ball to shortstop. They really do not need a strikeout. They need to try to get out of this inning without many more pitches being thrown.
They have juiced that one up, 0-2. Benson trying to get out without any further damage. This is the 7th man to hit in the top of the first. .90 on that fastball was too high.
Good smart pitch there, because he's tried to put a couple of hitters away with the curveball and he hasn't been successful, so you try the high fastball, let him swing at it out of the strike zone, but it also sets up the breaking ball now.
33 pitches so far from Chris Benson. Marcinsic is on his way to third. Gasell will get into second.
I could see that coming simply because he was getting ready to throw the knuckle curveball. He was fixing it in his glove, and then he turned and tried to change it and throw to second base. Now watch how he turns and throws to second base, and he did not have a good grip on it. See, look at the movement on the ball, because he was preparing to throw a knuckle curve. See, he had the one finger up, and then he tried to change it.
In the dirt, blocked by LaCroix. You can't be throwing knuckle curves to your infielders.
No, I mean, he was going to throw a knuckle curve to the plate. He saw the infielder run back, and when he ran back, he tried to change his grip, but he couldn't do it quickly enough.
Here's Lori Benson, his mother, who has certainly not seen him struggle very often during his pitching career, but she is seeing it tonight. He has runners at second and third, 3 runs already in, only 1 man out, 2-2 to Nicoluk. Called strike 3, the second strikeout of the inning for Chris Benson.
Well, that was a pitch that he wanted to throw before he tried to pick off at second base, and he might have gotten out of the inning. This pitch is a strike, but watch, LaCroix catches it funny and drops his hand. See, when it crossed the plate, that pitch was up above the knees, but when he caught it, he kind of dropped his hand, so it made it appear to be low, but it really wasn't when it crossed the plate.
2 outs, 2 on. And Jim Gargiulo, the junior catcher from North Lauderdale, Florida. .335 hitter and 20 RBIs in his last 15 games. Benson has been no mystery to the Hurricanes so far. Appeal the call and don't get it. 1-1 to Gargiulo. He's getting a chance to play in his first College World Series. He was on the roster in '94 and '95. Did not get in the ball game. Wow, that went straight back at a good cut.
I'll tell you what, he's not fooling with his fastball, that's for sure. They're right on the fastball, and he's still throwing well, but these guys are, you mentioned how good of hitters they had on this Miami ball club. They are able to swing the bat. Good quick bat speed.
By far, their batting average much higher than it's ever been for Miami. Just setting all kinds of records on a per inning basis. Home runs, slugging percentage. The team record for batting average was .311. They're hitting .340. 1-2. Gargiulo. Breaking ball struck him out. So Chris Benson strikes out the side, but in between he gives up 2 walks, 3 hits, throws the ball away, and tossed 39 pitches. The end of a half an inning, 3-0 Miami. Let's take a look at Clemson's starting lineup. Leading it off, the club's top base stealer, Doug Livingston, the second baseman. Freshman shortstop Kurt Boltman is a solid number 2 hitter with good bat control. Hitting third, the Tigers' power man, catcher Matthew LaCroix, number 1 in homers and RBIs. Average, he'll play first base. Paul Galloway, number 5 in the order. He's a senior and will play third. Left fielder Gary Burnham bats 6th. He has power but only 5 homers. Streak hitter Jerome Robinson will be in right. He has more clutch hits than anyone on the team. Senior Will Duffy is the DH and number 8 in the batting order. And the number 9 hitter, center fielder Rusty Rhodes, another senior.
And let's take a look at the pitcher. Weibo went back down and started throwing again about the middle of that inning because he had warmed up. So he didn't want to get cold sitting in the dugout. So smart theory there. You can see he's 14-3 on the year, and he has a fastball, curveball, slider, and a change. He doesn't throw nearly as hard as Benson does. Throws a sinker, fastball in the 87, 88 mile an hour range, but he will throw any pitch at any time.
Clemson not used to being in this kind of position. And they do not hit that well as a team. Their strength has been pitching all year, and they're going to have to suck it up and get some offense going to get their pitcher back in the ballgame.
But the great thing, Mike, is that whenever they've held the opposition to 4 runs or less, they've been able to win, and they didn't get 4. So they're still in good shape.
That being the magic number.
But just remember, I mean, Benson can go back out there and shut them down for the remainder of the ballgame. He's that good.
Weibel, who was 23-3 in 2 years at Odessa Junior College before coming to Miami. So in 3 years of college ball, 37-6 his career record. And Clemson's first hitter is Doug Livingston, a kid who has really been a spark for them. Missed 10 games with a broken jaw. The team has been 12-3 since he came back. When he was out, they were 5-5.
Well, he adds that element of speed to the top of the order, and that's what you want from your leadoff hitter. Someone who can get on base as Grammett did and put a little pressure on the pitcher, make him concentrate on holding you at first base, and that takes a little bit of his concentration away from the plate.
You see those 9 home runs that he had. He's only 5'8", 160. Really generates some bat speed.
Is that all bad? 5'8", 160?
Well, I was waiting for that.
And to be honest with you, it sounded like you were describing me. I was 5'8", 160. I don't think that's all bad. I think Livingston's okay.
You look like you may have had a little more muscle on your frame than Doug Livingston does right now. Breaking ball missed 1-2. Or make it 2-2. No, us little guys got to stick together.
You're right.
Fastball hit a screamer to right, but right in his tracks is Rivero. 1 gone, bottom of the first. The Miami defense, Gargiulo will catch Marcinzik, the first baseman, Gomez at second. He's a good double play combination with the brilliant Alex Cora. Burrow down at third. DeSalle in left, Rivero in right, and the speedy Grimmett in center. Kurt Bolton, the freshman shortstop out of Seminole, Florida, stands at 288. Good line drive hitter. Try to check a swing, foul that one off.
I think you made a good point there, Mike, in saying that they are not a great hitting ball club. They usually manufacture runs. They hit a few singles, move people along. But they have the luxury of doing that because they have such good pitching. But that's the problem if you fall too far behind. 3 runs is not that much. But you fall 4, 5, 6 runs behind, you can't come back, whereas Miami could come back from a deficit like that.
And it takes away the running game,
Right.
takes away most of the bunting game, hit and run, everything else that you use to manufacture runs all during the year. 2-1 to Boltman. He comes in on a streak, 472 in his last 36 at bat. Pops that one foul back out of play on the right side. 2-2. For Weibel, his 14 wins, the most for the ball club since Jeff Alcar was 14-3 in '92, and the best for a freshman since Alex Fernandez was 15-2 back in '89. Slap through the hole, base hit. Nice job of hitting there by Boltman.
A great example of what you were talking about. They slap the ball around, and he just punches this ball to right field. He doesn't even hit it there. Watch, it's a breaking ball down and away, and watch, he just kind of pushes it over there. See there? See, he guides it over there. I used to say that about Rod Carew. I say he catches it on the bat and throws it where he wants it to go. But that's what that swing looked like. He looked like he was just going to push it through the hole to the right side, and he got a base hit.
Here's the young man with the power numbers, Matthew LaCroix, 28 homers in 2 years at Clemson. Set a school record in April, homered in 5 straight games. Hit to deep center, Grimmett drawing a beat on it to the track. He'll make the catch. 390 foot out.
Well, I think the wind hurt that one as well because he hit it and it was tailing a little bit into the wind. The wind was knocking it down rather than helping it. What happens if you're not going with the wind will knock that ball down. I thought he got enough of it originally to get it out of here. Watch this. I mean, this is a powerful swing, and he looks like he got most of it. He thinks he got all of it.
Yeah, he did.
Look at that. If the Tiger bench thinks he got all of it, but the wind did knock that ball down. He hit it well enough to get it out, but the wind just pushed it straight down.
Doesn't get cheated on his cuts, does he? This one's hit off the fist by Jason Embler. A little dinker into right field for the base hit. Boltman going to have to stop at second base. So 2 on with 2 out. As Embler fists one, courtesy of the aluminum bat, into right field.
Well, that ball was up and in, and really he just kind of fought it off. It was a ball out of the strike zone, and he got a base hit.
Paul Galloway, the third baseman, the 284 hitter, comes up with 2 runners on. As Clemson trying to answer that 3-run Miami first inning. Inside with a fastball. Weibel will not walk many. 4.82 to 1 strikeout to walk ratio. Too high with a fastball, 2-0.
And anything really over 2 to 1 is good. I mean, Major League level, they would love for you to have 2 strikeouts for every base on balls that you issue.
They'd really love you if you're 4.28 to 1.
Yeah, right.
Here's the 2-0 breaking ball that hung high, 2-3-0.
You can see the difference in the way that he pitches as compared to Benson. He will throw any pitch when he's behind an account. That works to his advantage sometimes, but when you miss like this, in case this was a tie ball game, they may let him swing 3-0, although they will not probably in this situation. But the point is, you dig a little hole for yourself when you miss throwing a breaking ball when you're behind an account, because if you throw it for a strike, more than likely he's going to take it, and then, but if you miss, you're going to have to give him the fastball.
3-1 here, 2 on, 2 out. Galloway has 33 RBIs this year. Missed, and they're loaded.
That's a little bit of backwards pitching there as far as I'm concerned. There's 3 balls and 1 strike. You have a 3-0 lead. And you throw a 3-1 breaking ball. Again, if you throw it for a strike, he's probably going to take it, so you're going to have to come back with another one. I don't think you can pitch like that when you're ahead in the ball game.
And Laser Collazo may be coming out to say essentially the same thing, the pitching coach.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's saying. I mean, you can say he's not asking him the question, how do you feel? He's telling him what he wants him to do. And I agree with that. I mean, you have to make, and remember, we're talking about a team that's not known for power. Make them swing the bats. The 2 base hits were really kind of bloops.
And especially after you've posted 3 in the top of the first off a guy like Benson, you really want to shut him down.
Yeah, you do not want to give any of those back, because then you help their psyche.
Puts it squarely on the shoulders of Gary Burnham, the junior from South Windsor, Connecticut, who's a .283 hitter, has 5 homers on the year. Made the all-tournament team at the Atlantic Regional, his 2nd in a row, and the only Tiger who homered in the '95 College World Series. Missed badly with ball 1.
Quite often when you're told by a coach to throw a certain pitch, you'll get ahead of this hitter with a fastball, and you really don't want to throw it. You'll hold on to it a little too long.
Missed low with the fastball, 2-0.
See, that's more like the fastball he wants to throw, a sinking fastball, and hope that the hitter swings at it. The first one, it was like, well, this is for you, coach, and he just turned it loose.
2-0. Has made it a 3-2 game with a 2-run double.
That's why you do not want to walk people with 2 outs. He moved another runner into scoring position, and that runner scored. Fastball, this one's right in the middle of the plate. He lines it in the left center field. Good hitting there. I thought it was going to roll, but it hit stops there because of the rain we had earlier today. It slowed the ball up, and Grimmett was able to cut it off.
So runners at 2nd and 3rd with 2 gone for Jerome Robinson. And a 3-2 game. Robinson skies one to shallow center. Here comes Grimmett, still coming, and gets there. So 5 runs in the opening inning combined. 3-2. Go to the top of the 2nd in the College World Series. Miami leading at 3-2. We talked to Jim Morris about Chris Benson and his evaluation of the #1 pitcher in college baseball.
I know Chris Benson's a great pitcher, and I've known Chris since he was in the 10th grade because I'm from Atlanta, and saw him develop as a player. He's always a guy that locates. He always guys had a good breaking ball and a good changeup and a good live fastball, but it's improved. He's got bigger, stronger, and throws harder, and that makes him even more effective.
Although he did not look all that effective in the first inning, touched up pretty well.
But I bet you he feels more confident now, Mike, because they got the 2 runs right back for him. I think this is the most important inning for him. If he can shut them down right here, I mean, the confidence will sway back to the Tigers in this ball game.
This one's popped foul down the 3rd baseline, and a diving try by Boltman can't get there. Nice effort.
And you see the fans show their appreciation for that hustle. And you can see he's going all out. And at the last minute, he says, I can't get there, maybe with a dive, but not quite. I think after he dove, he's a little sorry, too. It's a lot of gravel
yes, sir.
on that ground. It's okay if you make the catch.
Shortstop Alex Cora fouls another one out of play. The young man has gotten his average up to 290. But I swear the way he plays shortstop, he could hit his weight, which is 183, and he'd play every day.
And as you know, Mike, that's the important thing for a shortstop. Play defense. Don't worry about how much you hit. Just do your job and play defense.
Anything he hits is a bonus, and he's not a very patient young man either. He only has 6 walks on the season. Slap toward the hole, and a seeing eye grounder between the diving Embler and Livingston. And Alex Cora starts the second with a single.
That's unusual in that he was late on every fastball that Benson threw him, so why throw him a breaking ball? He was late on every fastball. See, now he can catch up with the breaking ball, so he pulls it in the hole. You're playing him around the other way. As you see, second baseman Livingston was way over toward the bag, so you throw him fastballs, he fouls him down the left field line. You throw him a curveball, he gets a base hit.
Grimmett, who is 1 for 1, comes up for his second trip. Fouls this one down the right field line. Joe, I was always from the school that you're going to get it until you prove you can hit it.
That's exactly right. If a guy is early on your changeup, don't throw him the fastball because he'll be on it. But if he's late on the fastball, don't throw him the changeup. I mean, you should be able to tell just by his swings. And you mentioned it, Cora was late on both of the fastballs. I mean, real late.
Squares around a bunt, didn't get it. Snap throw. Matthew LaCroix came up throwing, and Cora caught too far off the bag.
Nice play by both LaCroix and Embler at first base. Nice tag there. Now watch, he's set up outside. He fakes a bunt. Goes through with it, and then fired to first base by LaCroix. Well, now watch the tag. Nice tag there. He puts it right there in front of the bag. No place for Cora to go.
Foul back 0-2. Got him swinging, 2 gone, a pickoff and a strikeout. Tomorrow night on ESPN2, the hard-hitting LSU Tigers will take on Wichita State. LSU powered by the sweet lefty swing of 100 RBI man Eddie Furness. Wichita's pinch hit double threat Travis Wyckoff, a real shocker. He said with tongue fully placed in cheek. Gomez walked his first time up. Gomez, the only Hurricane to start every game this year. With that run scored he had in the first, needs only 2 more for a single season Miami record. Turns first, an easy double as Burnham has to dig it out.
He threw the ball in the stands.
And I don't know if Burnham was sure that was a fair ball.
Well, he must have thought it was a foul ball. He must have thought it was a foul ball, and any throw from the infield from fair territory is 2 bases. And he was rounded second, so he gets third and home.
Gary Burnham, from here it looked like he was having trouble down in the left field corner, but apparently he was just taking his time, and that's easily a fair ball.
Well, the umpire signaled, and watch how casually he picked it up. That's what surprised me the first time. He picked it up so casually, and then he just flipped it into the stands. I mean, he thought it was a foul ball. Well, what they're going to argue here is that he was not at second base because you get 2 bases from where you were when he threw the ball.
Oh, he was at second base.
Well, that's what I thought. And the umpire called it. He said home. He called it right away, said he gets to go home. So they'll decide where he was. See, he's pointing to where he was at the time. In his mind, he says he was at second base, so he gets third base and home.
So Gomez gets the double, and then on the gaff by Burnham, he's allowed to score. Jack Leggett trying to argue the point.
You see, it's like an overthrow from an infielder. You get the base, you're going to plus one, so that's 2. And he was going to third, so it becomes third and home. That's the 2 bases he gets. Now, again, he just kind of relaxes. I mean, I thought he was fielding it rather casually, but I never knew that he was going to throw it into the stands.
Well, it's hard to imagine he couldn't see that was a fair ball. It was well inside the line. It wasn't one of those that went over the bag and somebody had to rule that it went over a piece of the bag before it went foul. It was in fair territory when it landed.
Well, first thing you do is look at the umpire. It's like the first thing you do as a base runner is look at the coach. There's someone there to tell you what is going on.
Boy, and Gary Burnham right now would like to be able to dig himself a hole out in left field and crawl into it. This is Burrell. Takes a fastball inside. He walked his first time up.
Well, let's see what effect this has on Benson, because he has started throwing the ball better again here in the second inning.
Well, you could light a match on Burnham's forehead right now.
And his teammates as well. He walked over to talk to Rusty Rhodes in center field, and Rusty just walked away. He walked back to center field like, what were you thinking?
He didn't want to hear any of it, did he?
No. And you see there's now all of a sudden Benson is not throwing strikes. Little things do throw your rhythm off. And I mean, he was kind of in a rhythm, and now he can't throw a strike.
3-0 to Burrell. Second straight 3-0 count he's had, and hasn't even flinched at that 3-0 pitch. You would think if anybody's going to get a green light, it's a guy with a 483 average.
He may have had the green light. Some hitters do not like to hit 3-0. And he may have had this 3-0 this hit sign the first inning when he had runs at first and second, a 3-0 count, and he took a fastball down the middle. There are a lot of hitters who just feel like they do not like to swing 3-0.
That's his 58th base on balls this year. And he goes to first with 2 out for Rivero, who struck out with the bases loaded his first time up in the first. 4-2 Miami on a bizarre second inning play. Strike on the outside corner at the knees.
I'm being honest with you, that's one of the things that always makes the College World Series enjoyable for me, Mike. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, that's the fact. I have seen so many things happen here in the years that I covered the College World Series, and they all start to come back to me now.
Rivero had a big cut and miss. The one I always enjoyed was runners on first and third. You fake the throw one way and go the other. I had never seen it work, and finally it did. It was amazing.
And guys are running everywhere, right?
0-2 from Benson to Rivero is high.
The first game I ever broadcast in the College World Series, Stanford was down by 4 or 5 runs going to the bottom of the 9th inning. And with 2 outs, 2 strikes, McCarthy, I think it was Dave McCarthy, hit a grand slam to win the ball game. Paul Carey. It was Paul Carey.
Paul Carey.
Yeah, McCarthy came later. But it was Paul Carey hit a grand slam over the left center field wall to win the ball game. I mean, that was my first game here at the College World Series.
Well, we've had a few to come close to that. Swing and a miss. Benson struck him out. So Gary Burnham with the mental error that allowed the run to score after he threw the ball in the stands. Remember, he was the hero in the bottom of the first, driving in Clemson's 2 runs. (4-2) Miami as we go to the bottom of the second. 4-5-0 for the Canes. For the Tigers, 2-3-2. And here is Burnham going to the dugout at the end of that inning. And if there is a water cooler back there, I'd look out.
Well, he just ran right into the tunnel. This is the play. You see the ball. Maybe that's why he thought it was foul, because it did go off and ricochet off in the corner in foul territory. But it was a direct signal from the umpire. Fair ball all the way.
Tell you what, he'll never make that mistake again. Duffy chops it on the ground down to Marcinzik. He'll take it himself, one gone.
I mean, it happens to the best of them. Larry Walker's not going to like me telling this story, but last year I was broadcasting a game in Colorado, and there was a ground ball hit down like that. He picked it up and gave it to a fan in the stand.
Yeah. And then had to go get it back.
Then had to go and got it back. Actually, it wasn't in Colorado. I take it back. It was in Los Angeles. And he gave it to a fan and then had to go get it back. And the funny thing, the fan gave it back to him.
It's a good thing he didn't have to go into a long-winded explanation. Look, I really need it back. I'll get you another one. Rusty Rhodes, the center fielder, stands in with one out and nobody on. Takes a strike called from Clint Weibel. Rhodes, a slap hitter. Breaking ball caught the corner, 0-2. Foul outside first. One of the younger fans maybe didn't understand that play in the last inning. A few years from now, he'll get it. Certainly enjoying the atmosphere here at Rosenblatt. Outside 1-2. After Rhodes, will go back to the top of the order and cut Livingston. Sell a lot of raw ability as an outfielder. Two out, nobody on for Livingston. He lined to Rivero in right in the first inning. Takes a breaking ball outside. Just until the College World Series, he had been wearing a helmet to protect the jaw that had been wired shut. Outside third, foul. Everybody will chase this one for a while.
Let's see what the kid does. He tosses it in when he knows it's a foul ball. Vassell made sure, though. And you can see the ball is outside the bag all the time. Nice call there by Graham, third base umpire.
Normally have very good umpiring. These are the best of the collegiate crews. Very prestigious trip for them as well.
And I like that idea. The best should be at the best.
Certainly.
If you're the best, you should be the one that's rewarded for the concentration you give throughout the season and the hard work you put in.
And there was the crew. Crystal, the veteran of the crew in his 8th College World Series. Livingston's one of those great success stories. Too small coming out of high school at 5'8", 135 at that point.
That's small.
Small.
I'll go with you on that one.
Struck him out. They told him he would never play major college baseball, but here he is in the College World Series. It's 4-2. Miami coming to bat in the third.
What's happening?
Talking with the umpire about the fair ball that he thought was foul that he threw into the stands that resulted in a run. And he's not going to have a very good. I mean, you never win an argument with an umpire,
no.
But there's no way on that one.
Especially on this one.
No.
You can question balls and strikes, and maybe,
Yeah.
But you can't question whether that ball was fair or not.
Yeah, not when it's 2 feet inside the line. But there will be better times for Burnham. He's already gotten 2 RBIs in the ballgame. Marcinzik leads it off in the top of the third against Benson, who certainly calmed down in the second inning. And as Joe mentioned, was throwing a lot better rhythm.
Yes, I think that's the key. And most of the time when you have a great pitcher, you usually have to get him early before he settles into his rhythm.
That's foul.
You know, I'm only going to say this one time during this World Series. Sometimes it's not fair to a good pitcher like Benson for a guy to be able to take that fastball as good as he's throwing and pull it foul when he's throwing you a lot of curveballs, etc. But that just tells you that that aluminum bat, it quickens your bat so much that really it's very difficult for a guy to pitch inside. I mean, it really is.
Now watch Burnham over here and left. This one's foul. He's going to look first. Now he's just going to toss it on the ground.
Well, if he could at least run that one down if he had to.
Strike three call. Nice hook.
And luckily he has that pitch. That's the equalizer. There are some pitchers who go to the mound only armed with a fastball. They're in real trouble because with these aluminum bats, I mean, you can just create a lot of bat speed. Beautiful pitch there, right on the outside corner, knee high.
The 6th strikeout for Chris Benson. And we're not trying to make Gary Burnham feel bad. I mean, he feels worse than anybody out there. This one's hit to straightaway center field by Michael Giselle. Rhodes settles under it. And 2 gone. Coming up Sunday morning, Formula One racing on ESPN2. The Grand Prix of Spain from Barcelona. Damon Hill will look to extend his lead in the World Driving Champion point standings, going for his 5th win in 7 races. Sunday at 7:50 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
Just so Gary will not feel that badly, Roy Campanella rolled the ball back to the mound in the World Series once. He thought it was 3 outs, and he rolled it back, and the runner scored. And he's in the Hall of Fame. So, Gary, that doesn't preclude you from making it to the highest level of your sport. I mean, it happens to everyone. I mean, mental mistakes you try to eliminate, of course, but they do happen.
I was expecting a Joe Morgan story.
Well,
there,
I was going to tell you one, but I thought it was more important to tell you Roy Campanella. Okay, I'll give you the Joe Morgan story.
Okay.
Bases loaded in the Astrodome my rookie year. 1 out. Ground ball at third base. Bob Aspermani throws it to me. They're looking for me to throw to first to complete the double play. I just roll it back to the mound, and everybody's screaming at me, Joe, there's only 1 out. Now, I did want to crawl into the hole, just like you said.
All right. Didn't hear for your career, though.
But you know what? It never happened again. Never. So I think that embarrassment will probably keep anything like that from happening to Burnham again.
1-2 to Kevin Nicola. He was called out on strikes with the bases loaded his first time up in the first. One of 6 strikeouts so far for Chris Benson. Struck him out on a wicked curveball. 7 Ks for Benson, and he's found his rhythm. But his club is down 4-2 to Miami.
He's spending a great deal of time here refurbishing Rosenblatt Stadium, and probably the crown jewel of all this construction is their new press box. And as you look at it, we walk down through here, I want to give you some numbers. $4.75 million in cost, 650-ton steel. Not only that, but they increased the square footage from 3,750 feet to 14,500. But you know the most important part? It's because Mike Patrick and Joe Morgan have a little more room to operate. And as I walk down these steps and I look at these 2 guys, I'm envious. I walk in the stands and you 2 guys get the good look.
Tell you what, this is a world-class facility. They did a wonderful job.
You did, Mike. And Joe, it's nice to have you here.
Well spent.
Yes.
Smoke to deep left by Boltman, and over the head of a leaping Giselle. Boltman dives into second, didn't have to, and has a leadoff double.
Take a look at this pitch. Fastball, middle of the plate in, and Boltman rips it. The cell goes back, and it's just over his head. That's where being left-handed hurt him a little bit. If he was right-handed, he probably would have been able to make that catch. A right-handed thrower, I should say.
Matthew LaCroix stands in, a runner at second, nobody out. His club down by 2, takes it inside. Fly to center on what he thought was a home run in the first inning. Time called, no pitch.
This is a different ball game if it's only 3-2, because it gives you a couple of options. I mean, you can take a shot toward right field if you're LaCroix. But right here, it really doesn't do any good to take, just move him along. You're going to try to drive him in.
Takes a fastball called strike. Last year, he was sandwiched between David Miller, who was a #1 draft choice by the Indians, and Shane Monahan, who was a second-rounder from the Mariners. And without that kind of support, has really not seen the number of good pitches that he did a year ago. Still hitting .320 on the year with 13 homers. Good fastball outside part of the plate. 1-2.
This has been a well-pitched sequence so far. He came off the plate inside after he'd hit the ball almost out of the ballpark last time to make him think that he may come back inside. Now he's hit the outside corner with 2 fastballs. He used that first pitch just to set him up and open up the outside corner.
It's nice to be able to say this about a college athlete. LaCroix turned down $400,000 out of high school to go to college. With all the stuff that's going on in college basketball, you love to see some of these baseball players get their education and still get to play some pretty good ball before they go pro. Base hit down the right field line. Boltman will score easily, and LaCroix is on his way to second. Rivero's throw not in time on a stand-up double.
Good hitting there by LaCroix. As I mentioned, he had stayed away on the 2 previous fastballs, so he goes out there again, and that pitch is away, and that's just good hitting. He takes that ball. He was going that way all the way, and he ripped it down the right field line. And Boltman comes in to score easily on the double. LaCroix hustles in the second.
And you don't usually see a kid like that, the 6'3", 220 in college, that is not going to try to pull it.
Right. That has some discipline. That took a lot of discipline, because it took discipline just to take the couple of pitches on the corner out there, because he wasn't prepared to hit them. A lot of guys would swing at the pitch even though they're not prepared and probably pop it up or hit a weak ground ball someplace. He wasn't prepared to hit them, so he took it.
Jason Embler, 1 for 1. Another kid who was told he was not a natural athlete, that he would never play Division I baseball. And now Jack Leggett says he has just through hard work become one of the best defensive first basemen he ever had. And this kid, #1 on the club now, hitting .359 for the year. Down to third. Pearl comes up throwing. And Marcinzik takes it on the hop.
Well, he was trying to go the other way on the pitch before. So Weibel comes inside with the fastball tailing in, so he had to pull it. And he pulls the ground ball at third base, although going the other way was the proper way to attack if he could have. He hit a ground ball to the second baseman. He could have moved the runner over to third with less than 2 outs.
1 out here in the third for the Tigers. LaCroix on at second, and Paul Galloway, the hitter, walked his first time up, stands in at .284. The kid who has had 8 straight semesters with a 4.0 average in mechanical engineering. Won't let him graduate, though. He's got 1 lab left. I think they'd blow that off, wouldn't you?
I was going to say, that's the easiest part of it, the lab.
Pretty breaking ball caught the inside corner, 1-1. Weibel trying to hold that 1-run lead. 40 pitches so far, as you see. Fastball just ticked foul.
When he has a good tailing fastball, he runs that fastball in on the right-handed hitter. And you could see that he had Galloway tied up there. But he specialized in the ball sinking back in on the right-hander.
And as you said earlier, movement is the key, always has been. You can eventually time anything, no matter how fast it's going. Breaking ball missed, 2-2.
I've heard guys say they could hit a speeding bullet if it just stayed straight. Doesn't matter how fast it is, as long as I know where it's going to end up, I can catch up with it. Just start my swing a little earlier.
Here's the 2-2. Cora comes up and strikes out to third and got it. Oh, you can't try to pull anything, especially in front of Alex Cora.
Well, not a good base running play there. Ball's not hit. The ball, anything hit in front of you, you have to stay there. That ball was hit in front of him, and he tried to go to third. Nice tag, nice throw, nice play.
Cora just seems to do the right thing all the time, as well as his physical skills. So 2 men out, a runner at first, and here is Burnham.
And I like the ovation he got. The fans are forgetting him, you know.
Well, he had a 2-run double in the first.
Well, I'm sure that was the fan was leading the cheers when he threw the ball
threw the ball to,
yeah,
right.
He was real happy.
Throw over to first. Galloway is back. Burnham is one of those very patient hitters, averages nearly a walk a game. And they've always said he has a lot of power potential, but he only has 5 home runs to show for it. He just never really come up with the big numbers. One and one with 2 out. Potential tying run down at first in the person of Paul Galloway. The numbers on Burnham in the regional. And this is when you want your hitters hot when you go to postseason. Chop foul outside of first. Really good crowd on hand tonight, considering the weather and the dire forecasts that we have had all day long. They really love this event here in Omaha, and they've made Rosenblatt Stadium so comfortable for everybody. It's just a beautiful place to be in June in the Midwest. 1-2. Hit outside third. Fair ball. Burl and got it. Nice play by the freshman third baseman. So we played 3 full.
Well, we've seen him good base running, make some good base running plays. Now we see this is an excellent play. This is a very difficult play because the ball is slapped down the line. Stops, plants, good strong arm, across the diamond, and he got it.
Miami hanging on to a 1-run lead over the Clemson Tigers as we go to the top of the 4th. Mike Patrick, Joe Morgan, glad to have you with us.
Now you get a look at 68 pitches in 3 innings. That's a lot of pitches. Obviously, if you multiply that times 3, I don't think he'll be around at the end of 9. But they do throw a lot of pitches here in the College World Series. These guys have young, strong arms.
The 8 and 9 hitters will lead it off for the Canes here in the 4th. Jim Gargiulo, the catcher, stands in for his second at bat, trying to check the swing, takes a strike. I said it was a beautiful night in June in Omaha. It will be. Hang on a couple of days. 0-2. Gargiulo struck out his first time up. team. He leads the club in being hit by a pitch. He never liked the team that well to take one for the club. Things coming in there too fast.
Yeah, very few people will do that anyway. Your first your instincts are to get out of the way anyway.
Well, that's called self-preservation.
Right. You don't have to. You worry about your body first, and then worry about the team second.
That's right. You're not going to do him any good stretched out
no,
there.
especially if it's towards your upper body.
Yes, sir. 2-2. Got him on a breaking ball. 8 strikeouts for Benson.
Well, he is impressive in that he sees that he's not able to overpower these Miami hitters with his fastball, so he has gone to the breaking ball as his strikeout pitch. Now, this is a perfect pitch because it starts in the strike zone and breaks out. And with 2 strikes, again, the hitters will have to chase it. They cannot lay off of it with 2 strikes. He's mixing in just enough fastballs to keep these hitters honest.
Using it more as a setup pitch right now. Cora 1 for 1.
This is a changeup. I haven't seen it. Changeup. 81-mile-an-hour changeup. Throws a semi-circle change.
The stoppage to play a beach ball came out of the stands.
So it was a beautiful day here.
Sure. Maybe a little late to go to the beach. Third straight College World Series for Cora. In '94, he hit .364, just amazed everybody. In '95, he hit only .294, but because of his glove, made the all-tournament team. And he was a human highlight film last year. Just inhaled anything that was within 30 feet of shortstop, either side. You notice his eyes. He was trying to check to see where the third baseman was just before the pitch. Got to go a little bit too far towards center and on the ground to Boltman. Wanted to sneak one through the other way that time.
One of the few ground balls that Benson has been able to force these Miami Hurricanes to hit.
With 2 out, back to the top of the order for Ryan Grimmett. He's 1 for 2, struck out after singling the first trip. Good fastball in the around though. And since the first part of the first inning, Joe, I haven't seen much movement on Benson's fastball.
But what he has done there is he's trying to, I think he's concentrating a little harder on trying to keep the ball down. Well, I guess that one up as soon as I say that, but it seemed to me that he's trying to make sure he gets the ball down. He was not effective up with that fastball. I mean, unless you throw 95 plus miles an hour in their swinging wood bats, you're not going to be effective. But that's the change that he's making.
Struck him out. 9 for Chris Benson, and we'll go to the bottom of the 4th with a 1-run lead. 9 Ks for the best pitcher in college baseball, but he's struggling tonight. Clemson will come to bat in the bottom of the 4th, down by a run, and they'll send up their 7, 8, and 9 hitters against Clint Weibel, who was allowed 5 hits through 3 full innings of pitching. Jerome Robinson leads it off. And leads it off with a shot to right center for a base hit. Robinson 1 for 2. And leads off the bottom of the 4th.
Well, he had been hot in the regional. In fact, he was the most valuable player in the regional. He was 8 for 16 with a couple of home runs. Fastball in, he kind of fights it off and hits it into right center field for a base hit. And now, Joe, Clemson back to the position where they're 1 run down and can play some little ball again. Right. And it's important that they got back this quickly, because otherwise, as the game would have progressed and they stayed down, the guys would have started to try to get the ball out of the ballpark, and they're not capable of doing that.
Burrell creeping in at 3rd, expecting the bunt from Duffy, the number 8 hitter. He grounded out to 1st, and Pujols is up in the Miami bullpen. This one's hit to straightaway left. DeSalle way back to the track, nearly to the wall, makes the catch. And Robinson will have to retreat to first. Duffy hit it hard, but DeSalle was able to track it down. This is a symmetrical ballpark. 332 down both lines, 360 to the power alleys, and 408 to dead center. It used to be bigger than this, but actually instead of moving the fences in, they moved the field out and shortened it a little bit. It used to be a canyon in dead center field.
I like what they've done with the walls in the left and right field.
Oh, yeah. Got rid of all the advertising out there, painted in that nice shade of blue. It used to be very difficult to pick the ball up. You couldn't even tell whether it had gone over the fence at times. Rusty Rhodes out of Iowa, South Carolina, 0 for 1. Fastball missed 1-1 from Weibel. Robinson down at first, as you see the numbers on Rhodes. Only 2 steals in 9 tries this year. And doesn't have a real good lead to begin with over at first.
I was going to mention that he doesn't have a big lead. He just got laid down back to the bag. Lori Will's theory was you should get a big enough lead so that you had to dive back and stretch out to get back. That would allow you more time to read the pitcher and still get a good jump.
Well, if you don't get out to that infield cut, you're not gonna scare too many people.
Well, they were scared for some reason. Yes, but he also used the slide step. The funny thing, if you're going to pitch out, what you really want to do is have the runner go. But what he did, he used the slide step. There was no way Robinson could run, even if he was thinking about going.
Baseball's an easy game to outthink yourself.
Yes, you're right. No, you're right. I mean, that's what happens a lot of times. Quite often you hear a pitcher say, well, I threw him the curveball because I thought he was looking for it because he hadn't hit it all night. Yeah, right. He hadn't hit it all night, and you still think that you're going to throw him something else.
So far, Weibel with 55 pitches, 60% of them strikes, 2-2 to Rhodes. On the ground, knocked down by Marcinzik. He'll make the play to the pitcher while the covering just got it.
That was actually a very nice play by Marcinzik. He made sure that he kept that ball on the infield. He got down and blocked it, and then took his time and fed the ball to Weibel very quickly. Nice play. Now watch this. He gets down, makes sure he knocks it down. Now watch, he doesn't panic. He takes his time, runs toward Weibel, and flips the ball to him. Nice play there by both Weibel and Marcinzik. Good hustle.
Marcinzik, not a flashy first baseman, but in his career, coming into the College World Series, 436 chances, 4 errors.
Well, you can see that he was making sure that that ball didn't get through. Someone else may have tried to backhand it to start the double play. But his main purpose there was to make sure he got one out, and he did so.
Livingston on at second with 2 gone. Or Livingston at the plate with a runner at second and 2 gone. He is 0 for 2, lined out and struck out. Increased his power numbers this year. Had 3 homers a year ago. Hit 9 this season as a leadoff man. And that's with missing 10 games in the middle of the year. Cued off the end of the bat. 1 and 2. Jim Morris in his 3rd year is 22nd as a head coach in college baseball. Has to be extremely pleased that his club has touched the best pitcher in college baseball for 4 runs early, but he still only has a 1-run lead out. Hoping that Weibel can hold that. Struck him out.
That may have been the best fastball he's thrown the entire ballgame.
High heat from Clint Weibel. We've completed 4. It's a 1-run game.
this ring of Tommy Owens, who was on the championship team in 1990 with the Georgia Bulldogs. Nice little trinket to have when you come back to watch some games. And that young man, maybe one of these days, he'll end up with the College World Series. Right now, he's thrilled with cotton candy, and who could blame him?
Well, I said if he eats all that, he may be 5'8", 160 sooner than he'd like.
Rudy Gomez will lead it off in the Miami fifth. Walked and doubled so far.
Good fastball there from Benson. He's still throwing well. Looked like he went to the breaking ball for a while, but now he's picked the fastball back up.
There's a fastball smacked on the ground into right field. Gomez just stayed with it.
90 miles an hour, and he just slapped it the other way.
It's a tough night when they come in at 90 and go out at 110.
You see the target's down and away, and he hits the target, but you see Gomez just rifles it in the right field for a base hit.
Benson had only given up 88 hits in 141 2/3 innings coming into this game. He's already been touched for 6 hits so far in this game. Burrell has walked twice. Both had 3-0 counts and had pitches right down the pipe and didn't offer them. Those are the only decent pitches he's seen. Low ball 2.
If you're a pitcher and you see, the best hitter in college baseball come to bat, you quite naturally want to get him out, so you try maybe a little too hard. You try to make perfect pitches, and in doing so, you really don't even come close, and that's what is happening so far with Benson.
Big rip at that one. Very disciplined hitter. He's not going to chase a lot of bad balls.
You see Burrell's longest hitless streak this season was 7 at bats. That's good hitting. It's not even 2 full games, probably 1.5 anyway.
He is bidding to become the first freshman ever to lead the nation in batting average. He is still at 483, and that is 28 points higher than number 2. They'd have to play a lot of games out here, and he'd have to take a lot of called strike threes to have it drop that far and jeopardize his chances. Fouls that one back off the right side out of play.
The only thing I look at, though, Mike, is maybe they're penalizing him for his team winning. Because just say he had 2-point lead and he comes into the College World Series and he faces the best pitching in the country and he does have an off day or two. I don't think that's fair. I mean, the playoffs should be separate from the regular season.
I agree with you, and the same on the flip side. If you're one behind in home runs during the regular season, I think the other guy ought to win it and not give you another 10 shots at it.
You get more chances to catch up and pass him. Like I said, I didn't understand that. I always thought that the playoffs should be kept separate, as they do in Major League Baseball. They keep it separate.
2-2 to Pat Burrell. Pitch out, nothing happening with Gomez.
That's hard to understand right there, in that with Pat Burrell hitting, Miami wants him to hit. You're not going to hit and run with him in that situation.
And Benson has struck out everybody with that knuckle curve.
Well, it's hard to get the fastball past these guys with the quick bats.
Here's the 3-2. Breaking ball, struck him out. Runner goes to throw. Double play. Strike him out and throw him out. Perfect throw by Matthew LaCroix. Perfect pitch by Benson. Couldn't ask for any better execution than that.
This is his 10th strikeout with a curveball, and this is a beauty. It starts up a little bit, and I think Burrell gives up on it. See, it's up, now it drops right down in there for a strike. Burrell almost interfered with LaCroix's throw to second base because he was trying to get the umpire to think that pitch was outside or at least high. watch LaCroix. He comes up. He really doesn't stride. He just snaps his wrist, raises his arm, and snaps it. I'll tell you what, he's got a good, strong arm.
Boy, he does. If he strides, he goes right through Burl. Oh, 2 to Rivero. And Clemson starting to show you some of the attributes that got it to the College World Series.
Just that old saying, pitching, defense, and a 3-run homer, or in their case, pitching, defense, and let's just score a few.
That's right. Tigers have scratched their way back to within 1 run, and Benson gets his 11th strikeout of the ball game. 4.5 innings played. Miami leading the Clemson Tigers 4-3. Five decades of the College World Series has produced some unlikely heroes who saved their best for last. Tonight, they are one of our 50-year stories. In 1963, USC's Bud Hollowell hit a paltry 183 for the season, but in Omaha, he smashed 4 home runs, still the series record, as he led the Trojans to the championship. And then there's Miami's Greg Elena, a bullpen catcher much of 1985, but in the series he hit 480 with 3 clutch homers and lifted the Canes to a national championship.
Did you see that young Rod Dato in the background there, the USC pitcher?
Yes, sir.
Gary! I love you, Gary!
I think that's always one of the beauties of the College World Series. There's some guys who are not going to go on and play Major League Baseball. They're going to be accountants, doctors, engineers, coaches, what have you. And this will be the thrill of a lifetime.
Right. They will always take the memories of the College World Series with them wherever they go.
Kurt Boltman, the freshman shortstop, leads it off in the 5th. He is 2 for 2. Singled and doubled to left center. And has his average up to 295. Now 19 for his last 38, hitting 500 during
But the Clemson Tigers have had some of their players go on to stardom in the Major League. John Curtis pitched here for the Tigers. He was with the Boston Red Sox. Denny Walling with the Oakland A's. Bill Spires with the Brewers.
Skied to left. Cassell goes back. Room at the track and makes the catch. Boltman got under one, and even the wind couldn't help it. Coming up tomorrow night on ESPN, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Playoffs. And the Florida Panthers have evened up that series. Mario Lemieux said he did not want a Game 7, but it's here in his own backyard. Game 7, the Eastern Conference Finals tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. Both of those hockey series have been remarkable to watch. LaCroix bounces it to Cora, who comes up, makes the routine play, and gets it. Just from a selfish standpoint, you'd like to see about 5 tough chances a game for Cora, because I guarantee you he'll make them.
Well, you know, if he gets a chance, maybe one of these days gets to Major Leagues. There are a lot of good shortstops coming into Major Leagues now, young shortstops. You and I, we were talking about Ray Ordonez. He kind of reminds you of Ordonez a little bit. It's the way he's built.
Of course, his older brother Joey, a Major League player, but he never really got that much help from Joey, because when it was time to play baseball, Joey was always playing and not coaching. Burl throws across, Marcinzik scoops it, and Embler is gone. A quick inning, end of 5. It is 4-3. Clint Weibel gets out of that inning on 7 pitches. World Series in Miami after a quick start. Still holds a 4-3 lead over the Clemson Tigers. Both clubs with 6 hits, and it must be Mexican night at the old ballpark.
I think they missed their turn. Yeah, Mexico's the other way.
I don't think they missed happy hour, though. Marcinzik will lead it off for Miami, and Chris Benson obviously has found the groove after early troubles, and has shown people why, even without his good fastball, without movement on it, he's been able to use his other pitches and control the Miami lineup. And that's what you're looking for, because you can't have everything every night.
Right. Well, you have to have something else to go to if your number one pitch is not working. On days when his curveball is not working, you have to spot the fastball better. So he is well armed when he goes to the ball.
He's fanned 11, but some uncharacteristic wildness in the first inning really hurt him as he walked 2. Nasty hook, just missed. Got some bite on that baby, hasn't he?
But from a hitter's perspective, you said, I'm glad he threw that with 1 strike rather than 2. With 2, you will have to chase it.
Hey, your knees lock up something awful.
When a pitcher has a great pitch, whether it's a fastball, curveball, slider, change, whatever it is, you want to see that pitch early in the count. You do not want him to wait until there's 2 strikes on you and then let you see that pitch. So from that perspective, you got to look at it early. Now, whether he can hit it or not is a different story.
Fastball, called strike 2. 2-2, Lamar Sinzik leading off the Miami 6th inning. He'll be followed by DeSalle and Nicola. And things have calmed down after a wild beginning to this game. Missed badly with a fastball, 3-2. Benson was a young man who was turned down for the USA team by LSU coach Skip Bertman, and certainly used as a motivating force. He came back to Clemson, struck him out on a curveball again. He went back to Clemson after being told he wasn't good enough to make the USA team, and he didn't throw a pitch for 8 weeks. All he did was lift weights and get stronger.
And this is that magnificent curveball that he throws. Look at that. I mean, that ball is rotating very quickly down, and the more rotation you get on the ball and the quicker the spin, obviously the quicker it will break and the sharper it will break. That's a sharp curveball right in the middle of the plate. He also added 7 miles per hour to his fastball when he started lifting weights.
Well, when they'll do anything to get on television, we'll accommodate him.
You mentioned he didn't make the USA team. He was not drafted out of high school either. I mean, that's, you know.
Well, a lot of that, I think, he had already made up his mind he wanted to go to college, and it has really helped him because he's gotten bigger and stronger. An example of somebody, if he had gone to the minor leagues at that point, may have been a complete bust, and college ball has given him the opportunity to come up with a whole chunk of change sometime next week.
Changeup. He looks like he wants to start using the changeup more in the last 2 innings than he did early. Well, he was struggling a little bit at the beginning. Now he feels like he has his rhythm. He's throwing all of his pitches, fastball, curveball, and the change.
That was his 100th pitch of the ball game, and number 101 plunks DeSalle.
As I mentioned before, he is aggressive. He will pitch inside. He had hit 10 batters in 140 innings. Ooh. Well, it might have nicked his jersey. It didn't hit him, that's for sure. But if it touches your jersey, it's the same as hitting you. And it must have nicked something because the umpire was looking right at it. It was on the inside part of the plate, and he was working off the inside corner.
Well, at first replay, it looked like one of those Olay shots.
Yeah, well, it didn't hit him physically, but it touched his uniform. And your uniform is a part of your body, so if it touches your uniform, you get.
Fortunately, it's the part that doesn't hurt.
Right. Well, let's take a look. Well, it doesn't look like it, but the umpire's on that corner, so I'm about to go with the umpire on that one. He's on the inside. He's working off the inside corner, so he gets a very good look at that particular pitch.
And keep in mind, it's getting up there at 95 miles an hour to begin with.
Yeah.
1 on, 1 out for Nicola, who was 0 for 2, called out on strikes and then struck out swinging.
And with 2 strikes, DeCal may have pulled one of those old NBA tricks. Ow! To get to first base.
We don't even need graphics anymore. We let the fans bring the signs. 0-1 to Nicola. One out, one on. Miami with a 4-3 lead. Cassell not much of a threat to go down at first, only 4 steals on the year.
Benson still has to be careful here, Mike, because you're already down 1 run and you're getting to the latter stages of the ball game. You cannot make a mistake and let them have another run, because again, it takes away some of the things that you're able to do offensively if you're 2 runs down or more rather than 1.
There's that nasty curveball again, 1 and 2. And a tough night for Nicolak. As we told you earlier, he strikes out once every 10.8 at bats. He's already fanned twice, and now he's in another 1 and 2 hole against Chris Benson.
Well, sometimes that knuckle curve is hard to read because you can't pick the spin up on it right, as quickly as you'd like, and you give up on it, and when it drops right into the strike zone.
This one's chopped foul outside of third.
That was a changeup again. For some reason, he's fallen in love with that changeup a little bit as well. I think the changeup is great coming off of a fastball, but it's not as effective coming off of a curveball. If you throw 95 miles an hour and you come back with an 81 mile an hour changeup, that helps you. If you throw an 84 mile an hour curveball and you throw an 81 mile an hour changeup, it's not nearly as effective.
One and 2 to Kevin Nicolak out of Simi Valley, California. Fastball called strike 3. He's fanned him all 3 times. He's come up in the game and has 13 through 5 2/3 innings.
And the amazing thing, you said, the guy strikes out 1 every 11 at bat. But I think he's looking for that breaking ball, and he just paints the outside corner with a good fastball. And you can see that he is not happy.
Through 59 pitches in the first 2 innings since then, he has really settled down. Still the 3 walks uncharacteristic, even with the 13 strikeouts. Gargiulo 0 for 2. He is also fanned twice. Runner goes. Throw not in time.
Tough pitch to throw on. That pitch was in the dirt. Plus, I think it was another changeup. But LaCroix made a good effort to make it as close as he did at second base. And that's another changeup. Pretty good jump, not a great jump. Had it been a fastball and was up, maybe he would have had a better shot at it. But again, I said you have to be careful here. You cannot give up another run here. I think if they're going to have a chance of coming back in this ball game.
Well, I agree with you, and I think Miami is thinking the same way. That's why they run Cassell, trying to get him into scoring position for Gargiulo with 2 outs.
Definitely take away a lot of their weapons, and like you say, keep them from hitting and running maybe, or even bunting late in this ball game if you're down, if you can get them down by 2 or more.
Not a bad play by Gargiulo either to square around as if to bunt, because that gives the catcher some problems.
Anytime a good second place hitter to a good leadoff hitter who steals a lot of bases will do that. What it really does is when you bring the bat back, it keeps the catcher back. It keeps him from coming forward. So it cost him about 2 feet on the throw.
Swing and miss. 1-1 to Gargiulo. Cassell down at second. Strike 2. Well, you have to admire Benson. Without the overpowering fastball tonight, he still found a way to strike out 13 guys through 5 2/3. And he seems to be really in command. Fastball struck him out, number 14 on the night. And he is keeping the Clemson Tigers close. They'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Tigers 1 down to the Miami Hurricanes. We move to to the bottom of the 6th in Omaha with Miami leading Clemson 4-3. And let's update you on the brackets here at day one of the College World Series. Alabama with a dramatic 3-run homer in the bottom of the 9th beats Oklahoma State. Clemson and Miami playing tonight also in that bracket. In the other bracket, Florida State and Florida will go tomorrow on CBS, and then our game tomorrow night on The Deuce will feature Wichita State and LSU at 7:30 p.m. The teams in those brackets do not cross over brackets until the championship game. They play the teams within those divisions, so it is critical to get off to a good start. Once you fall into the losers bracket, you're not only one game away from elimination, you have to play that many more games, and it puts so much more pressure on your pitching staff. And winning that first game is just huge. Galloway fans it 0-2. 5, 6, and 7 hitters will come up here. That's Alan Westfall in the Miami bullpen. And the Hurricanes, if they are leading after 7 innings, are 43-2. And all they want to do is get through 7. Galloway is 0 for 1. Hit toward the hole. Made it look easy.
Some kind of arm to be throwing a strong throw like that on the run. He was on the move and made a very strong throw. Watch, this is a difficult play. So he has to round the ball, but he does a great job of coming toward the infield and throws on the run and makes a perfect throw.
And gets him by nearly 3 steps. It's just, we talked about some of the pitchers being the total package. Well, Alex Cora is the total package of shortstop. Gary Burnham gets another big hand, especially from the fans in the left field, and comes up.
They're going to be his favorite. He's going to be their favorite for the remainder of the series.
Yeah. Well, you have to root for the young man after he made that bonehead play out there, but he has driven in 2 of the 3 Clemson runs, and that's his new fan section. And the inside corner at the knees called strike 2. Weibel certainly has not gotten the publicity of his counterpart on the mound tonight, but he has the lead, and he's pitched pretty well.
Yes, he has. Well, he's done what he's supposed to do, and that is keep his team in the lead.
Exactly. Honorable mention All-American this year for the Smith Super Team. Hit hard on the ground. Marcinzik bobbles, that comes up. Weibel covers. And 2 gone.
Well, I am definitely impressed with Marcinzik as a first baseman, because I think something that may come into play before this game is over, Mike, is this infield. Because it rained today, they did not put any water on it, and it's actually a little more erratic. It's usually a pretty good infield, but it's hard, and you're going to get some bad bounces, some big bounces, because they could not put any water on it. So a little difficult to play, and it may make a difference before this ball game is over.
In the first game, we saw a couple of wicked hops. Strike call to Jerome Robinson, the senior from Wadesboro, North Carolina, who is 1 for 2. He singled his last trip in the 4th, currently hitting .311. Just ticks this one foul. And more action in the Miami bullpen. Gutierrez has joined Westfall. Gutierrez, the left-hander. And they would set it up for Jim Morris if he could go to his closer in the 9th. Fly ball to right. Rivero coming on. 20 room makes the catch. And Clemson goes quietly. A 1-run lead for the Hurricanes. Back to the series in a moment. Earlier today, number 1 seed Alabama took on Oklahoma State with a score tied at 3 in the top of the 7th. The Cowboys' Rusty McNamara hit this 2-run homer off of Andy Bernard. But then in the bottom of the 9th, with the Tide trailing 5-4, Chris Moeller hit this 3-run blast to give Alabama a dramatic 7-5 win in the opening game of the College World Series. That one got out of here in a heartbeat. 5 right, 12-1 for Oklahoma State. Alabama advances to the winner's bracket. 7 runs on 12 hits, no errors. And it looked like the #1 seed was going to go down to Gary Ward's Cowboys, but it didn't happen. Now Oklahoma State 1 game away from a quick bus ticket home. Alex Cora will lead it off for Miami in the 7th. For a single to right and then grounded to short his last time up. Named the nation's best defender by Baseball America. Tries to drag the hook, and Benson will take it himself.
Nice play there by Benson. Shows another element to his game, and he can field his position.
Cora may be one of those guys who goes to the major leagues as a 190 hitter. A la Mark Belanger or somebody, but Belanger played nearly every day of his life and was a cog in that Oriole machine. Or maybe somebody like Ozzie Smith, who eventually turns himself into a good hitter. This one's dumped off the right side, and Embler can't get there.
No, I think that's a good point. If he goes and learns to play, learns to stay within himself, maybe he will be able to hit 250 or above. I mean, you can learn to hit. I'm not so much a believer that hitters are born and not made. I believe that you're born with certain characteristics that if you work at them, you can become a better hitter. I don't think he can ever become a Ted Williams, but I mean, he can become a better hitter.
Nobody else ever has.
No, right. So I really believe that you can work at it. And see, he has some of the good qualities of a good hitter already. He has good hand-eye coordination, and therefore that gives him an opportunity. Maybe he just needs to get a little stronger.
He's certainly a better hitter this year than he was a year ago.
Right, and he will probably be a better hitter next year, and so on and so forth. So, and plus, remember, if you get into a minor league system where you play 100 and something games, you work out every day, you practice every day, I mean, who knows how much you can improve.
And leather like that doesn't come around. Bremen at the top of the order, looking at a 2-2 count for Chris Benson. Rudy Gomez on deck. Miami would love to pad its lead a little bit. They jumped out 3-0 at the top of the first. Strike called, and he's gone 15 for Chris Benson.
And I tell you one other thing, Mike, he's a very smart pitcher as well. See, he was striking all the hitters out with the curveball. Now all of a sudden he's getting them looking for the curveball. He's throwing the fastball by them. If you get them looking for the fastball, for the curveball, they can never catch up with his fastball because it's 90+ miles an hour. So he knows exactly what he's doing out there on the mound. He has set these hitters up so that now he has 2 or 3 ways to go after them. He can go after them with the fastball or the curveball and even the change. So he's established that he is in charge out there since the first couple of innings.
Gomez is 2 for 2 and a walk. Did not have a good cut at that one. Benson within 2 strikeouts of the World Series record for a 9-inning game, which is 17. Most ever, 20 by Steve Marlin of Ohio State. That was in a 15-inning game. His right arm may have reached his right ankle by the time that one was over. And he is here for the 50th anniversary celebration.
I want to meet him.
It's tough to get those shirts with a 33 sleeve on one side and a 38 on the other. 2-1 to Gomez, 2 out, nobody on in the Miami 7th, and Chris Benson has it in cruise control.
That pitch there, Mike, was the first sign that I've seen that he may be tired. His arm dropped, and that's why he came under that pitch, and it just sailed up and away. That's the first time the entire ball game I've seen his arm drop. That's what I've been watching for, and just to see if it was ever going to happen.
Breaking ball misses outside, and he lost it. 122 pitches so far. And Burrow will get a chance to hit with 2 outs and a run on board.
Well, you definitely do not want to be tiring pitching to Burrow in this situation. So maybe he'll just have to reach back. And this is a good test. Let's see what he can do here. You have to reach back every once in a while and accept the challenge.
Burrow went into the regional, hit 13 for 18 with 4 home runs and 8 RBI. On the ground is short. Bolton with an easy play to second base. The inning is over. So Miami gets a base runner on a walk, but can't do anything with it. We've played 6.5. And the Canes continue to hang on to a 1-run lead. Miami, Paul and Karen Griego, local Omaha luminaries who have been so kind to all the people from ESPN ever since we have started coming out here. And Paul was kind enough to go out on the golf course in the middle of the week and give us all money as well. So
that'll work.
Very kind of him. Great. 2 of the nicest people you would ever want to meet, and typical of the way the people of Omaha have treated all of us and all the players and the teams who come out here for the College World Series. It's truly the experience of a lifetime. And if you were just a baseball fan, if you ever had the chance to come out here, whether you have a team in it or not, you got to do yourself a favor and buy some tickets at Rosenblatt and watch some excellent baseball for a while.
There's no doubt this is a great stage, and they've made it even better just by the changes they've made in the ballpark. But the kids here, they're so happy to be here. They're having so much fun, and as you said earlier, this is the time of their life.
Will Duffy leading it off in the bottom of the 7th. Tailing fastball catches the inside of the corner 1 and 2.
Actually, the last couple of innings, Weibel seems to be throwing a little better. He's getting a little more movement on his fastball, which often happens to a sinker ball pitcher. As you get tired, your arm slows down. You don't overthrow the ball, and you get a little more movement on it.
Weibel has retired his last 9 batters he has faced. Duffy with 6 home runs on the year. Fouls that one away. And now the wind picking up, really cranking out to left field. We have been very fortunate tonight to avoid more rain. We had some horrendous storms earlier in the day and some dire predictions as well for more of the same. Right now they're telling us we'll get it about midnight local time. This one's hit high to straightaway center. Grimmett drifting back with the wind to the track. Nearly the wall makes the catch. Coming up Sunday, the 50th year of the College World Series. It's time to look back at the most memorable moments of all. Join us Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN for our College World Series 50th year special. I've only been coming out here for 7 or 8 years, and boy, some of those guys I got to see play. Todd Walker, Kotze were some stars. Then you look back at some of the other people who were here. Rusty Rhodes trying to bunt his way on. That's foul.
You're right. I saw a few of those guys. Robin Ventura, when he had the 50-plus game hitting streak, and it was broken right here in the College World Series. I was never here when Rod Dedeaux was around. Winfield was already in the big league. So
Arlen on the list with his College World Series record, 20 strikeouts in 1 game, and of course the legendary Rod Dedeaux. And our thanks to President George Bush for doing the open honors for us. He played in the first College World Series as a first baseman at Yale. He was kind enough to allow our ESPN camera crews to tape him talking about this wonderful event. Rhodes skies 1 to left. DeSell for the second out. And we'll go to the top of the order with 2 out and Livingston. And really both pitchers have been in total control since about the 3rd inning.
Yes, they both picked their games up, and they've dominated the hitters since that time. But it's a good question here. How long will they last? How long will Jim Marsh stay with Weibel?
I think this is it. Once they get past the 7th, with the setup guys and Morrison being the closer, they know that if they get through 7 innings, their chances of winning are pretty good. Although Weibel has retired 11 in a row, and in this series is pretty tempting to say, hey, kid, you're done.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I mean, he's throwing well. He's controlling the ball game. I once saw a pitcher in the Major League game I was working. He retired 24 hitters in a row. The first guy got a base hit, and he retired 24 hitters in a row. He was leading 1-0. They took him out for the closer. 2 pitches later, the ball game was over.
Yeah.
So it's not a done deal just because the closer has pitched well. In the past, you can't just say you're going to come in and close the door all the time.
And sometimes you choose the wrong formula.
Yes.
2-1 to Livingston, who was 0 for 3 tonight. That's a called strike in there, 2-2. But that has been the pattern, and a very successful one for Miami. Weibel with 91 pitches so far. Trying to retire his 12th in a row. Just missed with a breaking ball. Dropped down a little bit.
Well, his pitch count will always be lower than Benson's because he doesn't strike out as many hitters. And when you strike out a lot of hitters, you have to throw a lot of pitches. I mean, it just goes with the territory.
3-2 to Livingston. Hit deep down the line, hooking. Home run, no, foul ball.
I tell you what, Scott Graham was trying. He gave it the good show down there.
He faked me out.
Yeah, he put on a good show.
Third base umpire Scott Graham leans fair and then signals foul.
Well, it's hooking. It's hooking. Foul ball.
That's foul.
If it never disappears from your screen, that means it did not hook around the pole.
Livingston thought he had it. Now he'll draw base on balls. And third base umpire Scott Graham, somewhere in his background there was a drama class or two because he hung on a while for that call.
He did. Well, maybe he was just trying to make sure that he got it.
Could be. He did make the right call. You got to give him that. But he may be chuckling to himself right now, too.
Hey, Bryson, I got Mike.
Yes, he did. Kurt Boltman, the freshman shortstop, stands in with 2 outs, the potential tying run at first. He is 2 for 3. He's also scored a pair.
Well, there's the chink in the armor of Weibel that gives Morris a chance to say, hey, let's go back to our normal setup here. If you get out of the inning here, I'll just give you some help the rest of the way. But it's difficult to take a guy out after he's retired 12, 13, 14 in a row.
Well, what do you do here down by a run with 2 out and Livingston, who's your best base stealer, 24 out of 26, and Boltman, who can handle the bat, looks tailor-made for a hit and run.
Well, everyone has a different opinion on how you play and in certain situations. There are guys who can steal bases early in the game, and there are guys who can steal bases late in the game. It's not just cut and dry that you can always steal a base. So it's up to the manager, the coach. He knows whether Livingston can do it under these circumstances or not. But I tell you what, if he could, or if he would accept the challenge, I would send him. Put the pressure on Miami to throw him out.
Jack Leggett's the guy who will make the decision.
But it is a little difficult to get a good jump off Weibel because he will give you the slide jump. He will change his motion.
Strike call, 2-1. And Livingston down at first does not have an extraordinary lead.
But he does not pick his leg up very high, so it's difficult. You have to be able to read something else other than his leg when they do that.
Low with a fastball, 3-1.
To be honest, I'm sitting here watching him, and his leg is the first thing he moves. So he's doing a good job of holding Livingston at first base. Because a lot of times a guy will move his hands and then do the slide step. He is just watching everything remain still. So his legs are first thing to move. So he can't pick up something else to find out when he's going to the plate.
3-1 pitch was fouled straight back. If Boltman can keep it alive, Matthew McCoy would be next.
But I still believe in putting pressure on him because it hasn't worked sitting there waiting for 3 hits in a row.
Yeah.
So I think it's a situation where, you should have timed it before, but now he has to go anyway, so we'll he'll at least get a good jump.
Gets the free jump on 3 and 2. Runner goes line to left. Livingston around second. He's on his way to third. Third down as he made the turn. He has to dive back in. Well, he thought about going for third,
but it was a smart play for him to stop, and he actually just fell down intentionally to stop his momentum, because there was going to be a play at third base, and you cannot get thrown out with 2 outs at third base. Good hitting there, and then watch him. And watch, he just fall down right there. Good smart play, because there was going to be a play on him at third. It might have been too close, and in fact, it may have been out.
Well, that old adage, you can't be the last out at third, because it's really not that big of an advantage.
No, you would like to be at third, of course, because you're closer. But by the same token, if it's risk versus the reward, and it's not worth the risk in this situation for the reward you get.
So runners at first and second with 2 gone here in the bottom of the 7th. Clemson's best scoring opportunity in a long time. If you're waiting for Sports Center, it's coming up after our game. We'll have all the highlights of Major League Baseball, preview of the Panthers and the Penguins, and highlights of the French Open. Of course, Roland Garros. Quite a big crowd on hand here tonight at Rosenblatt.
I was definitely going to be surprised if he did not make the change right here, because if he was just trying to get through the 7th inning, you could lose the ball game before you get to that point. So I think he's making a proper move here.
Jim Morris will make the change here in the bottom of the 7th, and we'll check out the new pitcher when we come back. With 2 out and 2 on in the bottom of the 7th, Miami has gone to its closer a little early, but he's the best they got.
Well, not only that, I mean, you talked about how important it is to win that first ball game. So Morris is going to decide, hey, I'm going to give it my best shot, and so you go with your best pitcher down the stretch. Look at those numbers: 80 strikeouts in 52 innings, 1 home run he's given up the entire season. So like you say, he's their best, and you want to go down with your best. I think it's a proper move, because if he can get 3 outs in the 9th, he can get 1 more out in the 8th for you. Here's a take a look at this. Almost a game-turning home run, just foul as the ball hooks around outside the foul pole. Livingston had a chance of tying this ball game.
So Weibel went 6 2/3, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs. He is, of course, responsible for the 2 men that are on base. And Matthew LaCroix, 1 for 3, doubled in a run, stands in against Robbie Morrison, 4-1 on the year, 13 saves. And his coach says he has never seen a better breaking ball. He's also got a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
That's not fair.
One of 14 runners that he has come in to face has scored this season. Just 1. Had 2 saves in the regional. Strike call, breaking ball in the corner.
Well, his breaking ball is a little different than Benson's. His actually has a hump in it. It goes up and then breaks down sharply. Benson's, because he throws a knuckle curve, kind of comes straight and then dives.
A freshman All-American, not just a freshman All-American, he is an All-American as a freshman. He and Burrow, the only 2 that collegiate baseball have ever named to their All-American team in their freshman year. Two and 1 to LaCroix. The tying run down at second, the lead run at first for the Clemson Tigers. Puts a straightaway center. Grimmett tracking and has it. Robbie Morrison comes in and gets the job done. We have played 7 full, still a 4-3 game. We go to the top of the 8th with Miami on top of Clemson, by 1 run, 4-3. Let's take a look at the Nike storyline from Rosenblatt in Omaha. Miami has been held to 1 hit since the 2nd inning. Weibel's night is done. He went 6 2/3, gave up 3 runs, walked 1, struck out 2, stands to be the winning pitcher. Clemson only 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Benson still on the hill, has struck out 15 in 7 innings. And has been very sharp since about midway through the 2nd.
He's throwing well. He's on top of his game now. If he could go back and start this game over, I'm sure he feels like he could pitch a shutout.
He's not lost a game since May of 1995. He's won 15 straight. He's in real jeopardy now, and he's going to need his mates to pick him up. Let's check in with Larry Conley. Larry?
Mike, I just had a question for Joe. He was very much on the mark when he was talking about Benson's fastball coming back here in the 7th inning when he used the curve through the 4th, 5th, and 6th. Joe, I was just wondering if you could remember a pitcher who, if you didn't get to him early, you were going to struggle with him, because it looks like to me that Benson's got it back again.
Well, I think that's a characteristic of most of your great pitchers. I mean, if you didn't get Koufax early, Gibson, most of those guys, when they could see the goal line, they could close you out. So you had to get them early. And Benson is reminding me of those guys. If you don't get them early, they seem to find their rhythm. And once they get into the rhythm of the game, moving at their pace on the mound, getting their signs during their timing, it's almost a tough situation for you to come back from and catch up with them.
Rivera just wanted to do just that, get the bat on the ball. He had fanned 3 times, and he leads off the 8th with a line drive single.
The low fastball is easier to hit because this ball sinking a little bit. It's not overpowering as the high fastball. This fastball is down, and that's what he was doing in the middle innings. He was trying to get the ball down, and then all of a sudden he just went back to his straight, hard fastball up in the strike zone.
T.R. Marcinzik, the senior from Plainville, Connecticut, 1 for 3, a single, and is fanned twice. And charging hard from third, Galloway, as they expect Marcinzik to lay it down. Miami would love to pad that lead. Tries to bunt it toward first and fouls it off. I've always thought this is another indication that third basemen are indeed crazy. I mean, when you're within 40 feet and the guy, he can pull it back and swat at it. Of course, I think you're nuts to be a third baseman anyway, with the hops you get down there. Throw over, Rivera is back.
Well, most third basemen, you either have to have great hands, as Brooks Robinson had, or a real strong chest. Just knock it down and throw him out.
Another throw over. Sometimes they want to see if that batter will stay there in bunt position, or will give you an indication if he's going to pull it back and try to slap it. Marcinzik punts it right in front of the plate. Benson's only throw is the first, so Marcinzik did his job. Advances the runner with 1 out for Michael DeSalle.
Good job there by bouncing that ball high as he did. No chance for them to have a play at second base.
Well, we opened the broadcast tonight saying it's the age-old baseball quandary: good hitting against good pitching. Who's the winner so far tonight? A draw, pretty much.
That's a good point. As you say, it's pretty much a draw because, I mean, he had struggled early. He had some help, with the defensive lapse, but he's pitched well since that time. But he still gave up the 3 runs. You can't take those off the board in the first inning. Those were of his own making.
DeSalle 1 for 2 and hit by a pitch. Young man struggled in the regional. Started 3 games and only went 1 for 9. Usually platoons with Tris Moore. in the Miami outfield. Breaking ball is in there.
It's a little different breaking ball he's throwing now also, Mike. He's throwing it, actually it looks like it's a little harder, and it's not breaking quite as sharply as it did before. It's just less break, but it's harder.
1-1 to DeSalle.
There's the changeup. I can see why, most scouts would say that he will probably be the #1 draft choice in the country. I haven't seen all the other pitchers, but he definitely deserves that kind of recognition.
Well, 2 of the other guys are on this Clemson staff.
Team.
Of course, the Pirates have the #1 pick and have not committed as yet. Went for one up in his eyes and slapped it foul out of play. SportsCenter, of course, will follow our broadcast. We're in the top of the 8th here in a 1-run ball game in game number 2 of the College World Series. And the boys will have all the highlights of everything. That's what you tune in for. Smoke to right. That's a base hit. Rivera will come around third. Jerome Robinson comes up throwing. It won't be in time. They don't have a play at second base, and it's a 2-run game. DeSalle delivers.
I would like to see that pitch again because it appeared that he threw him another changeup, which kind of surprised me there because he does have his fastball back and he has a good breaking ball. Yes. Yeah, that looks like it was a changeup, but it was thrown too hard. And they failed to execute there by letting the ball go all the way through. And that allows an additional runner to go down in the scoring position.
And this will get Rick Seguis to the plate as a pinch hitter for Nicolak. Seguis, a freshman out of Naples, Florida, who has 43 starts this year, 2 outfield spots at first base and DH. He didn't have a very good regional either, only 1 for 11, but hitting .337 on the season.
12 home runs also.
It's not bad for someone who didn't get a chance to play every day.
I think they're stalling here a little bit for time.
And Shepard and Vining, who the left-hander, the #3 starter, is up as a potential relief pitcher in this game for Jack Leggett, and it looks like Leggett is ready to make a move at this point.
Unfortunately, the Clemson Tigers, they've lost 7 straight World Series games. They haven't won a World Series game since 1977 when they beat Temple. So they were trying to get that monkey off their back tonight, and at this point, they're not doing so.
Normally, when Jack Leggett comes out, he's going to make a change. When John Pulowski is out there, it's usually maybe something mechanical with a pitcher, but normally Leggett makes the changes, and he does. And they're going to go with Vining, the left-hander, another potential first-round draft choice, and they want to bring him in to pitch to Seguis. Benson goes 7 1/3, 8 hits, 5 runs. He struck out 15. We'll be back with more in a moment. Chris Benson gets a big hand as he leaves the College World Series here for the Clemson Tigers. Certainly not as much for his performance tonight as for his brilliance through his Clemson college career and his 15 consecutive victories, and that'll bring on Ken Vining. Usually a left-hander described as crafty, but this guy can bring it.
Well, he and Benson are going as a 1-2 punch that you just can't overlook. Look at what he has done. He struck out 124 in 108 innings. I mean, these guys, they're strikeout artists, all of them. And one of the things I wanted to point out here, Benson threw 135 pitches. I guess the question is, when does a pitcher lose his effectiveness? Say a college pitcher, especially because he's not used to pitching 200 innings a year. How many pitches? I mean, I don't know if there is a definitive answer, but I think that's something that people need to try to look at. I mean, 135 pitches is a lot of pitches.
Well, that's something that some managers, some head coaches out here have been criticized for in the past. We've seen pitch counts over 150 with guys who are primarily fastball pitchers, and you wonder there's got to be a limit to what you can expect one young man to do on any given evening.
Yes.
Seguis, the pinch hitter, the first man that Vining is to face. Ooh, blew a fastball past him.
That bothered me as a left-handed hitter. Guy throwing that hard.
Yeah.
And that one looked like it really tailed in.
Of course, the standard may have been set a long, long time ago when Steve Arlen had those 15 innings with 20 strikeouts.
I said, we know he threw 60 pitches.
Yeah. But most guys are very careful in the pitch count. They know the level of talent that they're dealing with and what kind of future they're dealing with here for these young men.
But sometimes it's not always the coaches. Sometimes the players say,
true,
I'm still okay. I can go some more.
I remember Brooks Kieschnick from Texas. There was no way he was coming out of that game a couple of years ago. Didn't have enough guys on the bench to drag him off the mound. Well, that's got some pop on it. It looks faster than 88, too.
Yes. And he's their number 3 pitcher, right?
That's right. Billy Koch is number 2. Somehow left-handers who are fast look faster than right-handed pitchers. I never understood why, but they do.
Right left-handed, I understood.
Yeah. They look faster.
They look faster. Yes. But I mean, the one thing that Vining does is he gets right up here to the top and he snaps. He's got a real good delivery from when he gets the ball. He sets the ball in good position at the top, and then he's got a good wrist snap. I mean, he follows through very good. That's why he has such good pop on the ball. That's why it looks like and it sounds like faster than 88 miles an hour.
Here's the 1-2. Striking out on the breaking ball, but it gets away from catcher Matthew LaCroix. He'll have to throw him out, and does. At first, the runner advances to third. Benson would be on the hook for the loss after 15 straight wins. The last team to beat him, Miami, at Miami last May. So this leaves it up to Gargiulo with 2 outs and a runner at third. Miami already with a 2-run lead in this game. And Vining's job is to hold him without any more damage and hope that his teammates can go back in the 8th and the 9th and get 2. It's officially ruled as a strikeout and a wild pitch if you're keeping score on this. Gargiulo has fanned 3 times today. Vining struggled early in the year. They told us he used to look down at his cleats before he was picking up the target from the catcher, and he didn't pick it up fast enough, and it threw off his rhythm.
That's a good point. Very few pitchers stare at the glove the entire time during their windup. They usually find another spot and then focus in on where the target is. You can remember Fernando Valenzuela looking up to the sky, so you do not focus on the glove during their entire windup.
Came in second and got him to chase a pitch 1 and 2.
There's Weibel. He's got some ice on his shoulder and his elbow. Probably, I'm sure it's just precautionary measures.
Hoping that his mates can get a little bit more of a pad for Robbie Morrison, who's in to close it out. Inside 2-2. Gargiulo, one of the hottest hitters on this ball club coming into the College World Series as far as run production, 20 RBIs in the last 15 games. Swung over the top of a breaking pitch and strikes out for the 4th time tonight. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, but now it's Miami with a little more breathing room. They are up 5-3. They'll face the 4, 5, 6 left in the lineup. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Miami with the 2-run lead. Their closer, Robbie Morrison, already in there. This is his 36th appearance of the season, and outside of some early season starts, he has gone in relief once, 3 innings. The rest have been 2 or 1. So this is something of an extended outing for him if he can go the full 2 1/3 to close this one out. Tris Moore checks into right field in place of Eddie Rivero, and Rivero goes to left, and Michael DeSalle will sit down. Moore is an excellent defensive outfielder, and Rivero is probably a better left fielder than he is a right fielder. So Jim Morris making his defensive changes as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Jason Embler, the number 4 hitter, followed by Galloway and Burnham. They are the scheduled 3 here in the bottom of the 8th. Embler 1 for 3. Line to single right his first time up, and then is grounded out twice. The third baseman, Pat Burrell. Fanned at that one, 0-2.
Well, he has a herky-jerky motion right at the end. He kind of jumps at you, and when he slings the ball as well. So there's real good rotation for the curveball. And you see most of in tonight's ball game, you see Benson. And now you see Morris. They specialize in the curveball, not the slider. That's a curveball when this rotation is down like 3/4.
Another breaking ball called strike 3, and Embler is gone. One out in the bottom of the 8th. Morrison, you do not expect him to give up a run. Here's the breaking ball for called strike 3.
And he starts inside. You see Embler buckle just a little bit. And if you ever flinch on the curveball inside and it breaks toward the plate, you're out. See, I mean, that's rotation is very sharp right there.
Paul Galloway stands in, takes a fastball outside. And Morrison, in 35 previous appearances, had not allowed an earned run in 30 of them. Galloway 0 for 2. Another hit in the first strike.
Well, he can be very tough on right-handers because he slings the ball. It's not an easy motion to pick up. He slings it, and you think it's a fastball, and then it's a breaking ball like that. That's why you'll chase that pitch so often, because you can't pick it up right away, and then you jump at it.
2-1 to Paul Galloway, the senior from Camden, South Carolina. Morrison misses with a fastball, 3-1. Galloway, a former walk-on, and one of the big success stories in Clemson baseball history. Able to end up being a starter on the club in the College World Series. High fly to right center field. Grimmett, the center fielder, makes the call and makes the catch. 2 gone, bottom of the 8th. Sports Center, of course, following our broadcast here in Omaha. We'll update you on everything that's going on around the rest of the world, as well as College World Series highlights. And a huge hand is for Burnham, who is developing something of a cult following down the left field line. He is 1 for 3 with a couple of RBIs. And a 2-run double. Matter of fact, led this club in doubles during the regular year. Hit 22 and was 3rd in the Atlantic Coast Conference in that category. Downstairs, if you joined us late Burnham is getting all the attention because he picked up a fair ball double and threw it to the fans in the left field stands that resulted in the Miami run. Chopped this one, but it's foul.
So that one was the difference in the ball game for about 5 innings there, and Miami just scored another one in the top of the 8th inning, because otherwise, I mean, it should have been a tie ball game.
And here's the play back in the 2nd inning. He just simply thought it was a foul ball and threw it away. And Gomez got the double and then gets the 2 free bases. Hammer pass to Darwin Gomez. So Burnham can counter that mistake by saying, hey guys, I got 2 hits and a couple of ribbies, leave me alone.
Well, he's still a +1, he said.
Yes, sir.
Drove in 2 and gave up 1. It's a curveball that he hits the top of it, but he finds a hole on the right side past diving Gomez.
And Jerome Robinson, the best 2-out hitter on this ball club, stands in 1 for 3.
Oh!
He was a switch hitter until 2 weeks into the season. Then we made him exclusively a right-handed hitter after a 2 for 22 start. 2 for 22 will force some changes in what you're doing.
Yeah, but that curveball will force some changes too when you're looking normally accustomed to it coming towards you.
Yeah, you may
not
want to go back
away
and
from
left-handed.
Yeah.
Another breaking ball, snap throw to first, not in time. Burnham hustled back.
But you always will have a weakness, you know, if you switch hit most of your career. As we get a look at the runner Burnham at first base as he gets back easily.
When the throw is not high from Gargiulo, they got him. 1 and 2 to Robinson. Another curveball. This one tapped towards short. If your VCR is running, you better save that. You won't see many.
Well, I think what he was undecided there. He was trying to decide whether to go to first base or to second base. And I think he took his eyes off the ball to see where Robinson was, because Robinson hit the ball, he was on the move, and he thought he was going to go to second, then he was going to go to first. He couldn't make up his mind. Now watch, I think if you will watch, he'll look up. See right there, he looks up to see where Robinson is. And that's the reason he missed it. Watch his eyes. Watch where he looks. He'll look right up, right there. See, he's looking at Robinson, not the ball. He wants to know how much time he has. And that's usually the time that a very good fielder will make a mistake, is when he looks away from the ball.
Came off the heel of his glove. And you're talking about Burnham being 1 ahead. You got to think Cora's ahead a few hundred.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The way he can play shortstop. And now both teams take the opportunity to have a conference. Morrison with 2 runners on for Will Duffy. And Westfall, who used to be the closer and is now the setup man for Morrison, has gone to the bullpen and may end up being the closer again. Duffy 0 for 3. The wind blowing out to left field. And Duffy with some right field power would really have to crush one to get it out against the wind. Breaking ball called strike to the knees inside corner. Graduated in May with a degree in entomology on May 10th. Fouls this one off. So if you see him out there digging around in the dirt, you'll understand he's just doing research. All of his home runs this year, by the way, have come at home. He's got 6 and he's yet to hit one on the road.
Most of the Clemson Tigers are thinking it couldn't come at a better time than right now.
Struggled in the regionals, but was the leading hitter in the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament, hit .417, so he has had some success in the postseason, facing an 0-2 hole here. Fastball misses outside.
They threw him a couple of breaking balls inside, and he just wanted to see if he could get him to chase that fastball away. It's a very good 0-2 pitch there.
Morrison, a great looking freshman reliever. Foul out of play. Count holds it 1-2. Duffy, one of those guys who is a senior. If you're a prospect, you're gone by the time you're a junior in college baseball. He's out of Irmo, South Carolina. Having a chance for the thrill of a lifetime playing the College World Series. Chased the breaking ball, struck him out. Now they'll have to throw down the first to make sure they do. The rally is over, and we will go to the ninth with the Miami Hurricanes now up 5-3. We have played 8 full in Game 2 of the College World Series. Miami by 2, and the Tigers are going to have to go some in the bottom half of their inning. Here are the brackets. Alabama with a dramatic 3-run homer in the 9th advances into the winner's bracket over Oklahoma State. Clemson and Miami, of course, an inning to go here. If you lose, you fall into the loser's bracket. If you lose twice, you are eliminated in this tournament. The game's tomorrow. First on CBS tomorrow afternoon, Florida and Florida State. And then on the Deuce tomorrow night, Joe Morgan and yours truly will have Wichita State against 6th-seeded LSU. And as we have found out in the past, the seedings in the College World Series have meant virtually nothing. Especially with this field. This may be the most powerful field in the history of this event. 7 of the 8 teams #1 seeds coming out of the regionals.
And the other one, Oklahoma State, was a #3 seed.
And they were hot.
So it's not like a dark horse in here at all. But most of the coaches feel like this is the strongest field they've ever seen here.
Alex Cora 1 for 3. Leads it off here tonight. Cora actually hit 368 in the regional. Big bonus for the Hurricanes when they can get that kind of average out of this one. Studied in Puerto Rico under guys that you may have never heard of, people like Aparicio. Draws a base on balls from Ken Vining, who was in for his 2nd inning of relief. Only 3 stolen bases given up by Vining all year. He has picked off 9, which is a Clemson record, and has 2 different moves to first. People don't even bother getting a lead on him anymore. His reputation is so good. Ryan Grimmett stands in. Did you see the lead Cora had? Cora could have leaned and gotten back to first base. He didn't even have to move.
Well, he must be very deceptive because he has a big leg kick. So usually if you have a real high leg kick, you're not really able to fool the runners.
Now that's a bigger lead than he had in the last pitch. Cora has stolen 11 of 13 bases this year. It's a little tough to steal when you're nearly standing on the bag and going back in that direction anyway. Tries to bunt it, didn't get it, 1-1. Miami here in the 9th. Grimmett 1 for 4, single to center his first time up, and has fanned the last 3 times. Punch it out in front of the plate with Cora. It's a foul ball. Home plate umpire Kevin Gilmore right on top of it. 1-2.
Well, he squares around to bunt, and it hits the ground and hits him on the right arm before he's out of the batter's box. Of course, if he was out of the box and it hit him, he would be out.
Looked like it caught the slanted edge of the plate, the black portion, and came right back at him. 1-2. Will they have him bunting with 2 strikes? He squared around that way. You see a lot more of this in college ball too.
And in most cases, you're not going to fool anyone anyway.
No.
So go ahead and try to get yourself prepared before the pitch gets there.
He is bunting and gets down a good one on the right side. Vining there, throws it. Cole's on his way to third. They lug him around. Here comes the throw. Cole to the plate. He's in there. Give Ryan Grimmett all the credit in the world because he is able to get down the good bunt. Vining makes the bobble and then throws it away, and the sacrifice bunt turns into a run for the Hurricanes.
Well, Vining, watch him run past it instead of trying to maybe barehand and see how he ran at the improper angle. And now he just tries to make an off-balance throw, and that's just too tough to do. Grimmett had it beat out anyway once it got past him. And Core just a great slide to avoid any attempt at a tag from LaCroix.
Grimmett advances the third. It's a single and a 2-base throwing error on Vining. And Vining's night is done.
That was interesting. Vining a little bit upset with himself, wanted to walk off, and Jackson, no, let's wait right here.
Yep, you're going to wait for relief. 6-3, Hurricanes expanding their lead in the 9th. We'll be back to check out the pitching change in just a moment. Vining in an uncharacteristic relief role has given Miami a little more breathing room as they are up 6-3, and he leaves with a runner at third and nobody out in favor of senior David Shepard.
Well, we talked about how good the Clemson pitching staff is. You can see everyone they bring in has done a good job. But remember, you're facing the Miami Hurricanes, and they've been able to score runs, find ways to score runs if they're not powering the ball out of the ballpark. And that speed puts a lot of pressure on them. As you can see from Course going all the way from first base on that play.
Shepard has been the closer for this team, and they have given him the nickname of the Maytag Repairman because he hasn't gotten a whole lot of work in critical situations. Everything's been just fine. If it's not broken, don't fix it. Sports Center coming up immediately following our broadcast. We'll not only see some College World Series highlights, but highlights of Major League Baseball and all the other action, NBA, NHL. Gomez has reached base all 4 times tonight, including a couple of walks. And run number 7 in the person of Ryan Grimmett is down to third with nobody out. Infield comes in to try to cut off the run. Gomez, interestingly enough, the only extra base hit for Miami, his double. That was the one that Burnham tossed away into the stands thinking it was foul. So they have not done it with much power against Clemson's pitching staff tonight, but they have indeed done it. High fastball 2-0.
Let's go.
Make it 3-0. Clemson will look back if they lose this game on a couple of opportunities they had in the later innings with runners on base and just couldn't deliver with a big hit. And that's a credit to Miami's pitching staff.
Right, and I think you have to give Miami credit because they took advantage of Benson in the first inning, especially when he was a little wild and he made a couple mistakes. They got a couple of base hits, so they took advantage of what Benson gave them, and Clemson has not been able to do the same. Mine kind of looks like Fred Gladden.
Tom Gladden?
Yeah, Tom from
Atlanta. Yeah. Burrell stands in, has a couple of walks. The nation's leading hitter without a hit in this game. Came in at .483. His slugging percentage coming into the College World Series, .983. And his average drops 5 points as he goes over 2. Slugging percentage, .983. I mean, most of his stats look like misprints. There's the fake to third and the fake throw to first, which I never thought I would see work until about 3 years ago, and it worked right here. Takes it high. Here's a guy who not only has tremendous natural talent, but Jim Morris says when they have voluntary batting practice 40 minutes before regular batting practice, he's already waiting. He's the first guy out. He just wants to get in there and get his cuts and get better. Well, when they try to pull that play the second time, if you get picked off, you really deserve to get yelled at.
I was going to say maybe they were here when it happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it may have been. May have been.
So they're saying, I know it works. Well, he's hitting 3-0 in this situation. He will probably hit this time.
He's on a 12-game hitting streak, which is on the line right now, and he's homered in each of his last 3 ball games. This is the third 3-0 count he's faced tonight. And doesn't get anything to hit. So he's been on 3 times, but all walks. And when you put up the numbers he has, you're not going to see a whole lot of good pitches to hit, no matter what the situation with the score. But they are loaded up for Rivero. Shepard makes me think of Bob Uecker. Has thrown 8 pitches, all ball. There's ball 4, there's ball 8. Rivero stands in 1 for 4, struck out 3 times with his last trip up, single to left. Still nobody out, bases loaded. And Shepard just can't find the plate.
No, well, they've thrown 8 straight fastballs and missed, so they tried to start. Let's hit off with the curveball, and he misses with that also.
And you can see the tension out there on David Shepard, taking those little extra breaths, trying to relax. Of course, the tension on Jack Leggett's face is building up pretty well, too. It's 11 in a row.
Well, you can say blessing in disguise, because if they would have had a 1-run lead or something, they bring him in, it could be disastrous. At least maybe he'll get over the jitters right here, so that if they have to call upon him later in the series, he'll be more prepared.
Joe, I'm buying it, but it's going to be tough to sell to anybody from Clemson right now.
You're right.
And a ringing cheer from the crowd as the first strike in 12 pitches gets in there. 3-1 to Rivero, bases loaded. Three and 2. Didn't get around on a fastball. Sometimes it's all it takes to get you loose. Just one good one.
Yeah, one pitch.
This young man has given up 1 earned run in his last 10 appearances. Didn't even have to pitch in the NCAA regionals. The starting pitching was so good they never bothered to get to him. So he may be a little rusty as well. Wolvers like some more. To shallow center, could be trouble in the driving infield, and it drops behind Boltman. That ball didn't go 125 feet, and it's a base hit and an RBI.
Well, that's the danger of going in the infield. You really open up a lot of gap between yourself and the outfielder. And things like that do happen. Well, he hits Rivero right on the fist, and as you said, this ball doesn't travel 125 feet, just a little blooper, but no one can get there. And there's one more run on the board for Miami.
I mean, with nobody out, the shortstop backs up 2 steps to make that catch. Here is Marcinzik, who sees the bases loaded and just goes crazy. This year he's 6 out of 7, 14 RBIs. And it's 7-3 Hurricanes. And a chance to completely blow it open here. Breaking ball missed badly, 1-1. Opponents hitting only 163 this year against Shepherd. Sacks are full of Hurricanes with nobody out here in the top of the ninth. Fastball right on the corner. Marcinzik didn't think so.
Well, he has a lot of movement on his fastball. It does run in on the right-handed hitter, so he started out off the plate outside, ran back over the outside corner.
Infield drawn in again. One and 2. Speed got him swinging. So for only the second time this year, Marcinzik fails with the bases loaded.
It's the 18th strikeout for Clemson Tiger pitchers as well. You can see that's a splitter. It's a split finger fastball he throws.
Center coming up right after the bottom of the ninth when the Clemson Tigers bat, and this is Tris Moore, pinch hit for Michael DeSalle. Moore hitting .203 on the year. He's a defensive replacement.
I heard that established a new team record for 9 innings, 18 strikeouts.
Small consolation right now as they're down 7-3. 1 out in the infield can go back to double play depth. As you say, Miami got off to a quick start with 3 runs in the first, but Clemson countered with 2 to keep it close, and it's been more or less a 1-run ball game the rest of the way until the 8th when Miami got a 5-3 lead, and now they have opened it up a little bit.
Because this has been a long inning, there you see Morrison going back out. This seems to be something that this team does a lot. If there's a long inning, they go back out and warm up. Weibel did that in the first inning because he had to sit for a while.
Line and stabbed at third. No chance for a double play. Nice play by Galloway. Instinctive reaction, diving to his left. That would have put it out of reach.
Yes,
Moore hit it on the button.
Well, he dives and gets it, and now he gets up, and his only play was at second base, but he looked at second too late. His first job was to make sure he didn't have a play at third, so good job there by the third baseman. All he wanted to do was keep that ball from going through.
Now with 2 down and the bases still loaded, Seguis, who struck out his first time up. Number 3 in home runs in the club through a dozen. It's another freshman with tremendous potential. Straight call on the inside part of the plate. Just from a mechanical standpoint, he may have the best swing on the ball club. And we expect a lot in the next couple of years from this young man from Naples, Florida. Tough to get publicity as a hitter with Burrell on your team, though.
That's true.
Oh, you're only hitting .337 with 12 home runs. We don't even want to talk to you. He's in a 1-2 hole here against David Shepard, the closer for Clemson. Shepard gets out of trouble. And Morrison 3 outs away from another save and a Miami win that would put them in the winner's bracket here in the 50th College World Series. Okay, when's that? Okay. Miami takes a 4-run lead into the bottom of the 9th inning here at the College World Series in Omaha. Mike Patrick, Joe Morgan, Larry Connolly, glad you could join us on ESPN. We'll be here for the next 10 days, and following these 8 teams, Alabama moved into the winner's bracket this afternoon. Miami looks like it will do the same. They will meet later. Then in the loser's bracket, Oklahoma State will face, it appears now, Clemson. Florida and Florida State go tomorrow afternoon on CBS, and then we'll be back on the Deuce tomorrow night for Wichita State and LSU. That's a 7:30 Eastern start on ESPN2. Robbie Morrison, who has already pitched an inning in the 3rd of relief, seeking his 14th save of the year, will face Rusty Rhodes, who's the number 9 hitter and is 0 for 3. Then we'll go back to the top of the lineup. And Clemson needs 4 to tie, 5 to win. A little 9th inning drama in the first game, but the Tigers don't have, at least on paper, the bats that would say they can provide the fireworks here.
The history says that it does happen here. So
absolutely.
They should at least have a little confidence there. They got the rally caps on.
Morrison misses outside. This is a team that has lived on pitching all year. Right now they need the bats to come alive. Hit hard but foul by Rhodes. Pitching coach Laser Collazo said that Morrison may be the best pitcher he has ever had, and he's seen some good ones in the last 10 years at Miami. He especially loves the tight slider that this kid throws. This was pounded on the ground toward Gomez. 13 play, 1 gone in the ninth. Morris, the head coach on the right, Laser Collazo, his pitching coach, went through the signs.
Hey, wait, say 3-4, let's go, Robbie!
Doug Livingston going down. Tips one in the mid of catcher Jim Gargiulo. Livingston 0 for 3, walked once. Hit the ball hard his first time up in the line to right. Tries to bunt his way and pushes it toward the right side. Nice play. The pitcher Morrison slow getting over to cover. Marcinzik did his job, fielded the ball, but Morrison could not beat Livingston to the bag.
Well, Morrison can't decide whether to go after the ball or try to get to the base. He chases the ball first. Now he tries to go to the bag, and he cannot beat Livingston. Once you make that mistake, it's too late. And a nice bunt there by Livingston.
Doing his job. That's what Clemson needs. Just guys on base, down by 4. Bring up Kurt Boltman. He is 3 for 4 tonight. He's been the hitting star for the Clemson Tigers in terms of production. And the 3, 4, 5 hitters would be next. So Clemson is getting its best opportunity right here if they are going to rally in the ninth. Morrison bends one in there, and there is no current action in the Miami bullpen. Marcinzik not holding the runner at first. Breaking ball drops low. 2-1 to Boltman.
seems to be able to throw the breaking ball over just about any time he wants.
He's facing probably the hottest hitter in the College World Series field. Boltman is 20 for his last 40 in postseason. Hits it hard to deep right. Moore going back has to retreat to the track to make the catch. So the freshman goes the other way and gave it a long ride, but he's out.
Well, the wind got him on that one. The wind's blowing across to left field. And when the ball was first hit, Chris Morris took off for the wall, but the wind just knocked it down.
That'll leave it up to Matthew LaCroix with 2 outs. He is 1 for 4. Doubled his second time up, and with 2 runners on in the 7th, flew to straightaway center field to end that inning. Got the call on the inside fastball. LaCroix, a sophomore from Balton, South Carolina. To the sophomore catcher. Morrison trying to close it out for his 14th save, and it would hand Chris Benson his first loss in over a year. Just missed. One on, 2 out. Clemson down by 4 in the 9th. Outside again, a little further off the plate this time. 2-2. Breaking ball tapped toward the right side. Marcinsic comes up. Morrison covers, and it is over. 7-10-1 for Miami, 3-9-3 for the Clemson Tigers. Weibel is the winner, his 15th of the year. He's now 15-3. Chris Benson loses his first in more than a year. Our final score: Miami 7, Clemson 3. Stay tuned for SportsCenter with Steve Levy and Linda Cohn coming up next. For Joe Morgan, Larry Connolly, and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night from Omaha.